Well, a tremendous Thursday afternoon. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As always, presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, you can have some fun, and it's Thursday. This is like the luckiest one. I just want to win it just for the sheer enjoyment of it. The Daily Grand every Thursday, $1,000 a day for the next 20 years, 7.2 million. Quite the nice little prize pack if you win it. So good luck, PlayAlberta.ca. She doesn't need a lot of luck, but man, the summer of summer continues, and it's fantastic. So you look at where Summer Macintosh is right now, and you wonder, now there's never any guarantees, right? That's what's so great about it. You got to live in the moment. I can't predict 4 years from now. Why would I? Who knows? All I know is 2 gold medals. She just had an Olympic record in the 200-meter butterfly earlier today to go with her other gold medal and a silver. And they got the relays. And she still has also the 200-meter individual medley. So she's got a chance to get 5 medals. Now, the relay is going to be a hell of a race. There's lots of good teams. Australia, USA, Canada. I think China's team's pretty good, so that should be a fantastic race. The relay's coming up here momentarily, so we'll get into that. Also on the show, we got a loaded show for you today. I'm excited all the time about the show, but Matthew Scianitti will join us. We'll recap what's going on in the Olympics today, another medals, and hey, maybe another one by the time we get to Matthew. Mike Morreale, the commissioner of the CEBL, will join us as the Stingers this Sunday. And by the way, get your tickets. They are going fast. I went online to buy some tickets for the game, and I was like, oh my God, barely any left. Was able to get some. So that's good. But hey, man, I love playoffs. You know, we've talked about it. I love playoffs. I don't care what the sport is. I want to watch playoffs. And the Stingers in action, they are hosting playoffs this Sunday. We'll hear from Gabe Locke, talk a little baseball. Ken Reid will talk hockey with us and more. Dave Maloney from the New York Rangers as we continue to go around the NHL in the offseason, talk a little NYR. Spec will be by Livingston. Man, there's lots going on in the racing world. We know where Carlos Sainz is going now. The Red Bull domination. Ooh, now we're into the summer break in F1, but if you're an F1 fan, man, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, you got 4 pretty competitive teams now. Makes for a lot of fun. So now imagine if one of those other teams could eventually kind of come up and Alpine or somebody and get into the top 3 on a consistent basis. Would be fun, but not sure it's going to happen anytime soon. Also, big announcement today. Congratulations to guests, to friends of the show. Randy Gregg, a 5-time Stanley Cup champion with the Edmonton Oilers. He's also one of the owners now of the Edmonton Riverhawks, but more importantly, this is all about his time as a hockey player. And the doctor, Randy Gregg, announced today he is going into the Oilers Hall of Fame. The induction ceremony will be on Friday, October 25th, when the Oilers host Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. And going in with Randy Gregg, gentleman who won 3 Stanley Cups as a player with the Edmonton Oilers, the last player in Oilers history, the last player in NHL history to play without a helmet. He also was a head coach for the Oilers, took them to the 2006 Stanley Cup final, lost in a brutal 7-game series. Was also a GM of the Edmonton Oilers, director of hockey operations. Man, and now analyst. So he's pretty much touched all the bases, I would say. We'll talk to Mac T later on and, have to find out, what other roles did he want to do in the organization that he wasn't able to do. Maybe there isn't any. other than owner, I guess. Hasn't been the owner. Director of amateur scouting, guess hasn't done that. Probably didn't want to. It's a really tough job. Like a really tough job. You got to love hours in the rink all across the country when you do that. So 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our inbox. That's the text line. We'll get to all of that. Cons, did you happen to watch the young Macintosh at 17 years of age, who, by the way, doesn't look 17, but it will be turning 18 later. Exactly, she's turning 18 in 17 days on August 18th. And by then could be a 5-time Olympic champion.
Games wrap up on the 11th. That gives her time to get home and have one heck of an 18th birthday party, I would assume.
Yeah.
Maybe we got to wait till 19. Is she from Ontario?
Yeah.
You know the exact spots. Maybe 19. Hey, come out west, have some fun out in Alberta. But yeah, we got a chance to watch it in the studio here. Whenever she's swimming, it's almost a must-see event because we're all going to gather around the studio TV here and watch it. She's just unbelievable. We don't know what the future holds, but if she continues on this level of what she's been able to do, she's going to do some real damage in the Olympics for a decade. Like, she is that good. She's that talented. And it's really fun to see because, we've seen a lot of success from the Canadians in the pool the last couple of years here. Megan McNeil, obviously Penny Oleksiak burst on the scene a couple games ago. We've been kind of spoiled here, but it looks like Macintosh, she might be a whole other animal because she is just unbelievable. And, she finds a way to put some real distance between her and the competitors in some of the fields.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. Really dominant. Swimming's hard, though. Really hard. And it's fun to watch. There was a great race. And you know what? She never looked uncomfortable in that race. She looked very comfortable really the entire time. So we'll see. Hey, Gregor, did you happen to see the Turkish Olympic shooter that went viral for winning the silver without any specialized equipment? Just a T-shirt and regular glasses from Aaron. Oh, I saw it, Aaron. And obviously has good. And now it shows you that, hey, like if you're having all these specialized equipment, maybe that's cheating. Maybe you don't need it. I think that's what he showed. Hey, let's just see who can be the best shooter without all this specialized eyewear and everything else. Why not? Kind of like it. So we'll see. But that was, well, it was interesting because you compared him to the winner for the women. She looked like she was in the Matrix almost. So I understand it. But, it's a fun story for sure. Hey, Greg's, what's your thoughts on the boxing story? Doug. Ooh, Doug. You know what? I've been trying to research as much as I can to get the most informed opinion. So, and I haven't researched everything that I would like just yet. So I'm not going to, but I will hopefully by tomorrow because it's easy to want to just get upset and jump up and down and yell and scream about things. But I'm like, okay, I want to try to look at it from all angles and see what is, what's happening. Now I do know that the International Boxing Association had mentioned that, that those, there's the athletes, Ling Hu Ting and Amain Khalef, particularly that are participating in the Paris Olympic Games. And they talked about them failing some of their testing to qualify for women. So, that's one. That's just the IBA. And, I think it's a long conversation, but I think it's a conversation that has to happen. And one where tomorrow on the show, once I've been compiled, I think enough information to have more of an informed opinion, then we'll talk about it. And so that's up next for tomorrow's show. So we'll see how it goes. But it's definitely a hot topic right now. No doubt about it. Hey, Gregs, what's has any Canadian ever won 3 gold medals in an Olympics? Ooh. Well, Bailey won 2. Bowman won 2. That's a good question. Now, my memory off the top of my head, I'm going back 70, 68. I know somebody won 3 in 68, but I don't know if they were all 3 golds. So I have to go back and check that. Cons, you can look it up. Look at who was the Canadian in 68 who won 3? I don't think they were all gold though. I don't think a Canadian's ever won 3 golds. That would be it. Well, heck, 1 gold medal's an unreal accomplishment. 3? You kidding me? In 1 Olympics? Come on. It'd be fantastic. But off the top of my head, I don't think so. But again, I'm leaving an opening in case I got to double check. Cons is looking it up right now, but I don't think so. All right, Cons?
You're talking 3 golds or just 3 medals?
No, 3 golds. She's already run 3 medals.
Yeah, I don't see any here. Elaine Tanner had 3.
She had 3 in 68?
3 medals, but
Yes.
no golds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had 3 medals, though.
2 silver, 1 bronze.
Yes. And so this is Summer has 3 medals. Now, how many medals did Clara Hughes win in Olympics? Was it only just because I know she won in both the winter and the summer? Did she ever win 3 in one? Penny Alexiak, she won quite a few, did she not? When she was 16 years of age. So,
Yeah, Penny's got the most at 7 right now.
yeah, in her career.
In her career, that's yeah.
But at 1 Olympics, was it 4? In 2016?
Believe so.
Yeah, okay. So, there you go. So, you know what? Now, obviously, certain sports only have 1 discipline. If you're in swimming, you have a chance to to do others. So we do have to at least address that. That's obviously part of it, right? Track and field. Now you can run the 1, you can run the 2. It's pretty hard to run the the 400 as well. I'm trying to think there's ever been an athlete I know there's lots of athletes who've done 1 and 200. We've seen them win, but the 4 and the 1, very different races. Very different races. Hey, Gregor, what's your thoughts on the Athletic article on Merrick? Anthony in Ontario. The reason they gave why he's gone is surprising. Well, yeah, I read the article, but I knew before the article came out what had happened. And it'll come down to the wording of the contract, right? That's what it's going to come down to. I know I've seen some people try to suggest that Frank breaking the expansion draft is the same. It's not remotely the same. It's not even close to the same. Frank doesn't work Frank was never rights holder. Number 1. Number 2, the league gets the draft. The team sends the draft to the league, right? Here we go. This is who we're picking. Boom. They give me the advance notice and away you go. The expansion draft was not. Now the league might have told people, but there was, the players who weren't protected, right? They knew who it was. And so the teams knew, the agents knew, there's lots of people that knew. So who's giving you the information? Obviously, Frank's not going to reveal his source, nor should he. But it's very different. In the case of, Jeff's situation, to me, it's unfortunate. I guess it's going to come down to how the wording of their contract is. The gambling aspect to me, I don't really jive with that. Unless they think that somebody could make a bet at the last moment, and I guess they could in theory, right? So that's probably what they're looking at. That this person then, by putting out the information, Mark Seidel was the one, and there's a case like trying to come across as though you're picking the picks and knowing, but you have inside information that's just kind of greasy on his part, I would think. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Jeff's a really good dude, done a lot of really good things. I won't be surprised if he's back. One day I'm sure he'll discuss what happened. And yeah, it comes down to the fact that now again, the timeline on it. Somebody would have to know and say, well, I really trust this Seidel guy, so I'm going to suddenly now make a bet based on that. From the time it came out to the time did that person actually read it, how many people were following him, that I don't know. Right? So I'm sure there's lots of other things involved there. So it's unfortunate for sure. Cons, where did Canada finish in the relay?
Came in fourth.
The worst.
Unfortunately, yeah. Those Aussies.
Aussies
They
won.
can swim.
USA second. Or China, is that who it was?
China, yeah.
So how close were we? Because obviously I didn't get to.
Not close. I think go get the numbers here. It was, there you go, full 4 seconds.
4 seconds from third to fourth. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it dropped off quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. So 200-meter freestyle. So it's, 8 lengths of the pool because there's 4 people, right? Everybody's going there and back twice. So love the relay, though. It's fun. I have to admit, I like the 100-meter relay better. Just because it's quicker. It's like, I've seen the 4x400. It's exciting, but it's not as exciting as the 4x100. It's just that simple. Matthew Scianitti will join us. We'll talk a little CFL, some Olympics. Canada Women 3x3 is going on today. The Plouffe sisters. Talk about that and much, much more on the Jason Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Elks fans.
Touchdown. Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
Rule number 62. Never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and, frankly, a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks Fan Park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So, pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Maximize your car's lifespan by performing regular maintenance services. Visit Mr. Lube for warranty-approved oil change, scheduled maintenance, and tire service. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Mr. Lube in Spruce Grove is located at the corner of Century Road and McLeod Avenue, or visit Mr. Lube.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
On behalf of all radio stations across Alberta, thank you for supporting the Alberta Day of Caring for Jasper. Together, you help make this day a tremendous success, helping those impacted by wildfires in Jasper and across Alberta.
With your help, we raised over $500,000. And a reminder, the bottle depots across Alberta will continue to take donations for the cause for the rest of the week and through the long weekend. If you didn't get a chance to donate them today, just remember to tell them that the bottles are for Jasper. On behalf of Alberta radio stations, thank you.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy.
Call Legacy. For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
She says her love for me could never die. That'd change if she ever found out about you and I. Oh, but her love was true. What?
.222. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook on a lovely Thursday afternoon. Canada, tough fourth place finish in the 4x200 relay in freestyle. Still really good performance, but unfortunately for them, not good enough. We're going to get to our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company, one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches that safely take you or your group to your next destination. Book your ride now. Plan ahead because when it gets busy, you want a good group way to get there safely, soundly, and comfort? Go to silentrides.ca. And we'll talk a little Olympics and maybe a little CFL with Matthew Scianitti from TSN. Matt, how you doing, Matt?
I'm well, Jason. How are you?
Oh, I am. I'm all right. I'm enjoying the summer of summer. She's, having herself quite the Olympics thus far with 2 golds, a silver, and got another chance to get another one in the 200 meter medley. I would think so. It's it's been a lot of fun. What about you? Is there a sport that's fun to cover more than others that maybe you don't watch that maybe you have a newfound respect for?
Well, the one thing I have to tell you, I'm having been someone who was a judoka when I was younger, watching Krista Taguchi win the gold medal, the first gold medal in judo for me, someone who grew up spending well over a decade in the sport, never getting to a point where even considering going to the Olympics, but far enough in the sport that I realized the kind of sacrifices that she would have had to have made to even get to that chance to have a shot at an Olympic gold. You're talking about a young woman who would have, certainly her mother and father, obviously she competed for Japan and then moved over to Canada. But I can tell you, for those who want to have an understanding, she would have had to have trained relentless hours in Japan, and anyone who wants to even have an idea of competing at this level has to go over to Japan and spend time at the Kodokan University. So it's to watch her and to create history for Canada as she did, certainly building on the legacy of Nicholas Gill and the 2 medals that he achieved in 1992 and 2000 is pretty incredible. And to build off of the point you made about Summer McIntosh, certainly we saw Penny Oleksiak as a teenager achieve what she did in Rio, and then certainly build on her legacy to become the country's most successful Olympian. But you look at Summer McIntosh, knowing that she is 17 years old, and to know that she has a boatload of medals already in her pocket, and to know that she could have a couple more quadrennials in her, and you go ahead and you think, wow, this young woman could end up being one of the most, if not the most successful Canadian athlete of all time, and by the time she reaches 20. So that's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Now, a guy who does judo, you mentioned Nicholas Gill. Now, obviously, it's very hard to get on a podium in any sport, but is there any reason? Is it just because it's such a difficult sport and maybe it's still not that popular that we go that long between medalists, and obviously the first ever gold medalist for women?
I think some people might look at that, Jason, and wonder on the surface if that is true. But I can tell you, as a young judoka myself, going to judo camps and seeing a lot of my contemporaries in the sport continue to try to push to go to the Olympics. I trained along young men who wanted to get there, and Japan and France have owned that sport for decades. And certainly, when watching Krista Taguchi's run to the gold medal, facing the French competitor as she did in the semifinals, you could see, certainly against the home crowd, the amount of energy that she was competing against. But it is a physical, emotional, and psychological grind when you're competing in judo. It's one of those, in a day you could lose one match and then be in the repechage and not have a shot at a gold medal or not have a shot at winning in your particular weight class. So it really is, as much as I say, a physical exercise as it is a mental one. So her achievement is incredible. But when you watch, certainly I remember trying to stay up late at the 2000 Sydney Olympics to watch Nicholas Gill win his silver, which was a historic moment for the judo program, for Judo Canada in our country. So now to see her now set a brand new standard, as it's even got me considering going back on the mat. And that's just what happens when you watch the Summer Olympics, the kind of inspiration. And even we talk about Summer McIntosh again. I mean, I grew up and I was a swim team coach, so I look at her and say, not that I have any delusions about getting anywhere high in any kind of competition myself at 38 years old, but I look at both of those young women and I say, wow, you know what? It kind of it pulls at your heartstrings and puts that itch on you that you kind of want to get back and maybe compete in some way.
Well, Matt, guess what? You're only 38. You're a young buck compared to the 51-year-old silver medalist from Turkey.
That was amazing. To see him in glasses. I mean, I also wear glasses too. And to think about you look at all of those specialized lenses and dimmers and blockers that they use on the pistol range, and to see him just stand there. I think the best meme that I saw of that was someone after they broke down certainly what that athlete's achievement. One guy was like, yeah, this dude just looks like an assassin, or probably is an assassin back in Turkey. So it's that's the wonderful thing about the Olympics too, Jason. It's just the memes that come out of it. And when the world participates, there's always going to be interesting characters that come from every nook and cranny across the globe.
Well, there's also the 58-year-old table tennis player. Talk about never giving up on your dreams. You kidding me? That's unreal.
And the fact that for her, you think about her story, right? She was competing at a time when there weren't two-sided paddles.
Yes.
And then she has to go ahead and give up the sport that she loves and then to compete for Chile. And it reminds people of the prominent South Asian communities actually that exist in South America. And for her to go ahead and compete for Chile at 58 years old, it's one of those things that certainly, you think about the sports, the 17-year-old Summer McIntosh in swimming and the high performance and high endurance sports, but there are also sports that, even though they may not require that kind of sweat equity, they certainly, there is no age limit to success, especially in the Olympics when you look at, sports like table tennis and particularly shooting, but those are two incredible stories.
There's been some great stories early on, and man, like there's so many stories. And we're only barely a week in, which is awesome. But you look at the men's basketball, first time in 20 years are in there looking great. They really haven't even needed Jamal Murray yet, which is a good sign. The 3x3 team is solid. The women rugby, their best ever finish with a silver. Obviously, the women's soccer team, everybody knows what's happened there. And so, Matt, I have to ask you about that one because, I've seen some people say, oh, they came down too hard on them. And I disagree. I'm like, even though the players might not have gotten any of this video footage, you don't know that the coaches didn't use it to their benefit to instill, okay, we're going to try this or that. And the player's like, oh, coach just came up with an idea, right?
Yeah.
And what about, do you find it odd that, there was lots of men saying, yeah, you know what, we saw the tape from Honduras, but no one's, they never showed any to the women.
I think we're going to, just when you look at this situation, and I've been, I can tell you, this is one situation that even before you called me, I was on the phone about because I've been talking to those in and around the Canadian soccer and international soccer community, especially coming after Copa America. And the reaction has run the gamut. And I think we've entered kind of the dichotomy of certainly when you look at the women's team and certainly when you, as the suggestions have been put out there, as Rick Westhead has reported, the inclusion of John Herdman in this whole story. And I think it kind of speaks to the dichotomy of the situation. Is there that kind of cheating that goes on, particularly in the North American CONCACAF region? I have heard of that. I certainly haven't seen evidence of it, but we can all, especially with soccer's less than stellar past and less than clean reputation, you can certainly think that you can certainly put your mind there that those things could happen. But I also know that John Herdman, in terms of what he did psychologically for the women's team in particular, when he came in the mid-aughts and certainly helped galvanize that team. You're thinking about Melissa Tancredi, Christine Sinclair, Diana Matheson, a young Jessie Fleming later on in 2016, and what he was able to do to make those women believe, after all the difficulties they dealt with the CSA, after all the disappointments they had within themselves as a team, that they would feel that kind of loyalty perhaps to John Herdman. Now, but to your point about whether or not they watched and what does that say about them, and certainly your opinion is certainly justified in thinking that, listen, it was the team, it was the coaches that committed this, and yes, maybe the players weren't holding, the camcorders themselves or directing the drones themselves. The team has to be punished. Certainly that is the Court of Arbitration for Sport certainly agrees with you, because they didn't go ahead and change that ruling. But I also do think that, and certainly knowing many of the members of that women's team, that they will, in another side of the argument, feel justifiably aggrieved, because they see certainly the entire world looking at them, not some corners of the women's and international soccer community not feeling that they deserve that gold medal, feeling that they won it simply on penalties and not in the dominant way the U.S. had won perhaps their gold medals in the past. But I also know that what we're watching, and certainly Marie-Philippe Poulin posted on social media just yesterday, such an incredible story to have a 6-point deduction, and then to know that you're going to have to be perfect and win and get all 9 points in your group just to have the opportunity to get out and get to the quarterfinals. To know, as Vanessa Gilles, who has become the battering ram, the face, the voice of all the emotions the women's team has had, to see her step up. And so often, if there was one criticism of the women's team, it was that in big moments, perhaps they didn't meet the moment, and not certainly, taking the 2020 Olympic gold medal game against Sweden in the semifinal in that competition against the States out of it, but certainly some of their disappointments in the World Cup, to say, well, this team sometimes in the crunch moments hasn't showed that mental fortitude. They have it in buckets now, because you could see just the way they kept going after Colombia yesterday, and they now face Germany. And I got to tell you, as much as the Germans are one of the standout international teams in the women's game, no one wants to face Canada. And certainly that it just illustrates that wherever you sit in this conversation, whatever side of the argument, give them the points deduction or not, the Canadian women's team is become, I think, the story, with all of the incredible stories we've already talked about, has become the central story of this Olympics for Canada.
Matthew Scianitti joins us. Matt, is there any concern you think of, like an emotional letdown, right? Like you've had to play, everybody knew what they were up against, and I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for them now, is to ensure that they keep going, because obviously the competition's only going to get harder.
Yeah, and when you look at certainly what the Germans and their success, and obviously the United States has a new coach in Emma Hayes, who's been incredibly successful in the women's game in the Women's Super League with Chelsea in England. The one thing I will say about this Canadian women's national team, though, is they're looking to do something that is pretty incredible in the sport of soccer, which, we talk about certainly the achievements of the men that they've just had in Copa America. But the women are looking to go 4 straight Olympics and medal, which is remarkable. We're the only thing in our country that we can look at that's comparable is the consistent success of the women's hockey team and the men's hockey team.
Right.
And I think right now, as much as you look at the competition and knowing that, given that the Olympic tournament isn't as expansive as the Women's World Cup, it only has 12 teams in it, that the concentration of the competition gets tougher. I don't doubt that this team, and I look back at certainly Caitlin Sheridan, the goalkeeper for Canada, and some of the incredible saves that she's had to make the last couple of games, to be able to the kind of mental buy-in that they've needed, knowing that they're certainly going in there, and whatever plan that they had under Bev Priestman has now gone out of the window, because she's not their coach now, and may never be again, that they've had to adjust. irrespective of the kind of competition they'll face, I think they've showed us all that they have that kind of mental fortitude to deal with whatever comes their way. And even if they lose in the quarterfinals to Germany, this is going to be a team. And these last few days, and I point particularly to that game against France, to that goal that Gilles scored in the 13th minute of added time, to say that is itself an incredible achievement. But that's the way we are now. It's kind of incredible, Jason, when we've come to soccer in this country, the level of expectation has only risen and risen. And I was laughing to people. I said, maybe we are becoming, just ahead of the Men's World Cup in 2 years, maybe we are becoming a soccer nation after all, because of the achievements and the expectations we have, obviously, to say nothing of the international now soccer scandals that we're also a part of, which a lot of major soccer nations have to deal with almost on a monthly basis.
And Matt, before I let go, I got to ask you your thoughts on Trey Ford and why it's taken so long for him to finally get a start for the green and gold.
Yeah, I think we're at this point now where we want to see what Trey Ford has. And speaking to him before the season, there was a media junket in Hamilton, Ontario, and I had a chance to kind of pick his brain a little bit. And you could see before that, as the game went on against Hamilton, then when he got in, and as I saw in him in the springtime in Hamilton, he's been itching for this, and he wants that opportunity. And there is so much that goes into preparing to be a professional quarterback, the amount of time that it takes to get ready, the way that you'll have to combat not only the physical, but the psychological preparation of the other team. And he has so many talents. I was actually standing with one of his coaches from the University of Waterloo last year, actually, when he came in against the Argos and had an incredible touchdown just before halftime. And he and I were looking at each other, and he just said to me, that's why he deserves a shot. There are some magical things that he can do. And certainly Glenn Suter is right up there with the biggest advocates in the CFL for getting Trey Ford an opportunity. But now when he's under the lights and week in and week out, it's what is he going to be able to do, not only physically and mentally, but to adjust. I was speaking to Bo Levi Mitchell today at the point that he is at in his career about confidence. And he said confidence is just something that you have, and it adjusts over time with certainly the expectations of the team and the pressures of success, and also the pressures of your body and the toll that it takes. And Bo has had to go back this year in his mid-30s and really adjust his own expectations of what his body can and can't do. But that confidence, he said, is so key to him putting his pads on, putting his helmet on, getting under center. And certainly we saw, even though it might have been quote-unquote garbage time, Trey Ford was slinging it and certainly looked confident. His teammates certainly looked confident in him when they were coming back to the ball to make some plays. But even Canadian Football League is such a grind, Jason. And if Trey Ford wants an opportunity to be a star in this league, he's going to have to measure up. And if he gets that sustained opportunity now, let's see what he can do with it.
Yeah, well, to me, I saw him for 10 games last year, and it was infinitely better than the 8 games prior and infinitely better than the 7 games after. So he better get a long look here as the starting QB. And the thing is, he comes in at like the worst time. He's taking on Saskatchewan, Montreal, and BC in 3 of their first 4 games, the 3 best teams in the league.
Well, but you know what? In order to show the league at what he has, I mean, you can certainly look at Davis Alexander coming in for the Alouettes last week against the Riders. He goes 12 for 12, and now we'll see what he has tomorrow against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Football is unforgiving, Jason. No matter what kind of ideal scenario you might want, the game always wants to head and test you the best way it can. And let's see what Trey Ford's got.
Awesome stuff, man. Appreciate it. Have yourself a great day.
Take care now.
There you go. That's Matthew Scianitti joining us from TSN, talking about Olympics, and ending with the Trey Ford. And all I'm saying is, when you consider the lack of success that other quarterbacks had and the long look, they went 0-15 and kept getting starts. I don't care if Trey Ford loses on Saturday. I don't care if he loses the next week. He deserves the same opportunities that Cornelius got and Bethel Thompson got, without question. Take a quick break. Coming up on the show, we're going to hear from, we're going to get a little bit of McTavish and Randy Gregg. If you missed it, they're going into the Oilers Hall of Fame. The ceremony will be October 25th when the Pittsburgh Penguins are in town. We'll discuss that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt. And fan favorite, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Elevate your home's curb appeal effortlessly with House Numbers Canada, locally owned and operated right here in Edmonton. Their state-of-the-art modern house numbers and address signs are the perfect solution for a quick and stylish upgrade. Multiple size and color options, stock items, custom designs, and the always popular LED illuminated numbers. Quality guaranteed or your money back. So what are you waiting for? Give your home the modern upgrade it deserves. Explore House Numbers Canada's exclusive collection at housenumberscanada.ca.
Albatross Roofing and Construction is hiring experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers in Edmonton. Must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy top wages, benefits, and career growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Join their expert team today.
Here's Dr. Vance Elliott to talk about Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery's new website.
We needed to spruce things up a bit and give it a modern look.
Sounds like your website needed a little surgery.
Exactly. It's easier to navigate, much more user-friendly, has an updated patient gallery, and answers to the most commonly asked questions.
There's even a section about you.
I want you to know my story, so you'll be confident that I'm the right doctor to help shape your story.
To learn more, check out the new website at drvanceelliott.com.
This summer, as the sun shines, the grass will grow. You'll find a wide selection of Echo summer cleanup equipment at the Lawnmower Hospital. From grass trimmers and chainsaws to log splitters and multi-tool systems. All backed by Echo's outstanding 5-year consumer warranty. Make summer yard care a breeze with Echo and the Lawnmower Hospital. LawnmowerHosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Summer adventures are more fun in a new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada.
All this month, get 0% financing on all 2024 Mitsubishi models.
Plus, get up to a $3,000 trade-in bonus.
And double the loyalty rebate for all existing Mitsubishi owners, up to $1,000.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Connor Halley joins us, the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Many of you, 833-401-1440 in our well inbox. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Canada has another gold medal, her second of the Olympics. Young Summer McIntosh in an Olympic record breaking time wins the 200-meter butterfly, which if anybody who's ever swam, that is a like the butterfly. You're not allowed. I don't think there's races that longer than 400 meters in butterfly because it's just so taxing. Like it is hard. It is very hard. Like breaststroke is awkward, but butterfly is hard. Now they might not even have races past 200 meters. Now that I say that, I got to look it up. But that is it's a tough race, man. No, I'm not saying that from experience because I could never butterfly. Like, I tried butterfly. You watch it, you get someone to teach you how to do it. It's like 8 strokes. I can't do it. Like it is hard, really hard. So, like, good for her. Like she is, she's having an outstanding Olympics, and You just think about, remember we had Lorianne Munzer on last Friday, and she talked about the one thing she wasn't prepared for. And she won 1 gold, which is still a big deal. But Summer's got 2 already and a silver. And even now in 2024, there's significantly more attention on Olympians than there was in 2004. So as Lorianne said, she wished in hindsight she would have stayed in the Olympic Village longer and planned kind of how life would be different when she returned. No, it wasn't a major thing, but just some small details. And, like when she got home, she wasn't allowed to stay at her house for 2 days because they were worried about people coming to her house. And you're just like, what? That wouldn't even cross my mind. So, there's going to be a lot of things different for Summer McIntosh. It's the one thing sometimes I think when you think of fame like that, everybody thinks about, well, look at all the money they make and everybody loves them, and that's great. And that is true. But there's also the other side. And it isn't always glamorous. It can be, I know some people say, well, you make a lot of money. Yeah, well, she's not making that much money. It's not like she's making $12 million a year. Not that money, like I never buy that argument. Well, you get paid $12 million. You should just accept that you have no privacy for the rest of your life. Why? That's not what you signed up. Like when you were a kid dreaming about playing in the Olympics or in the NHL or wherever, you weren't like, oh, I'm going to have no privacy anymore if I'm a superstar. I just have to accept that people can just come up to me and pester me all the time and take pictures whenever they want and ask me for stuff. And, that's just part of it. I don't think so. That's just me, though. I think there is an element, and it's a big conversation, probably deeper than we could have on the show, about how we view sometimes and put, famous people on massive platforms. They're just still human beings. Like they might be really good at singing, they might be really good at athletics, they might be good at acting. But when you think about it, like those are fun things, they're great. But you could be like ultra smart, right? You could help invent something that saves the world. You don't get looked upon the same way. It's kind of weird. But anywho, I think, what? Hopefully now she probably has Penny Alexak to talk to because, at 16 years of age, she probably went through it and she'll have others. But everybody's different. You don't know. What if she's a massive introvert? I don't know her. Right? Because just because you become famous doesn't mean you change inherently who you are. Right? Connor McDavid is pretty introverted. He's never going to be, the big guy who wants to be the face of the party. That's not who he is. And that doesn't make him a bad person. How many of you are introverts? I know lots of introverts. Some of my best friends are introverts. Nothing wrong with it. But you know what? Like the best way an introvert told me sometimes is, when they're in a group setting after a while, they just feel tired and they got to go home and recharge. And it's not that they're tired of human beings. It's just, that's not how they're wired. Whereas extroverts, man, when they're sitting alone too long, they're like, oh my God, I gotta get charged up here. I gotta go talk to someone. So it's different for everybody. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, my favorite part of the Summer Olympics, specifically swimming, is how it demonstrates just how dominant Phelps was. You look at 16 and how Penny Alexak burst into the scene and won a bunch of medals, but really hasn't been able to sustain that. And then you look at Phelps, was able to do it 5 or 6 Olympics. Crazy. I hope Summer can carry this to a long winning career. Such an amazing athlete. From Dylan. Well, Penny Alexak still has 7 medals, dude. Like, the most ever in our country's history. I think she's done pretty well because she's not Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, a freak show, right? He's like Gretzky of swimming. Like, look at Gretzky's point totals over everybody else. He's just kind of a different bird. But, Penny Alexak's still a pretty good athlete who's had 7 Olympic medals. You kidding me? That is very, very good. As Summer McIntosh, a.k.a. Maple Phelps. I see what you did there, tub guy. Not bad. Not bad at all. So Hey guys, watching a drone, how's that different from watching game tape? It's not like hockey where you could see a new PP being worked. Soccer's about defense and penalty kicks. Nothing to see here. IMAC. I think you're very mistaken on that. First of all, it's a closed practice. Hence, closed. No one's supposed to watch it. 2, set plays in soccer are massive. Corners, free kicks, different things. To say it's just defense and penalty kicks is, I think, a little misleading and inaccurate. But the fact of the matter, stop trying to downplay it because it's Canadians who did it. We'll accept our fate. Doesn't represent everything. They have to look within. Be better. Now, I know I hear the argument, well, they do it in South America maybe, or they do it here. Well, but it's always followed up with, I think so, or maybe. Does that count? Do you get to use that argument in a discussion with your spouse or your kids? What if your kids can, well, I think other kids are watching it, Dad, so I can watch it. How's that going to go over in your household? Probably not very well, is it? So we can't buy that argument because we're Canadians and suddenly it's like, well, it happened to us. We got to find others who they got to be cheating too. No, just accept it. They did it. Now, they haven't done it for the last few games, and they're still winning, so they're still good. No debate on that. But they broke the rules. They got caught. That's why you have rules. If the others are smart enough not to get caught, good on them. Hopefully, eventually they'll get caught. But I'm sorry. I think it's a real cop-out when we go to the, well, others are doing it. Do you know that? Do you have, if you can send me the proof of it, then sure. Otherwise, it's just a way to try to deflect from the fact that Canada aired. And that's what happened. They aired. It's not going to ruin our reputation. They just aired. That's how it goes. Hey, Greg's, what happened to 3x3 today? Winners again. So they are now 3-1. They had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday, but Canada's, the Plouffe sisters and their team bounced back with a victory over the hosts. And they are now 3-1. So awesome for them. We look forward to having them on the show when they return home from the Olympics. Be fun. That's a good, like, there's another team that should medal. Got a really good chance. Hey, Greg's, who does Canadian women's soccer team play next? Germany. And then Germany, and if they win and the U.S. wins, then it's Canada-U.S. in the semi. Ooh, spicy. It'll be fun. The men, if they go, they wouldn't meet the U.S. until the final if they both get that far in men's basketball, in case you are wondering. So the draw is not bad. Not bad at all. Hey, guys, Phelps says Katie Ledecky's the GOAT. Well, of course he's going to say that. But Katie Ledecky is very good, don't get me wrong. But the medal count suggests that not better than Phelps, that's all. So Katie Ledecky was phenomenal. Phenomenal. And, that's why, when Summer beat her earlier, she got the bronze, Summer got the silver. Pretty impressive. Because, yes, you're right. Ledecky, unreal.
Yeah, they had Ledecky's the fastest women 1,500 meter times of all time. Top 20, all Ledecky.
Yeah. Well, how many? Well, I remember Declan telling me, it was like the 1,500. Like, there's very few people that even want to do that race. Like, that is like, you think about how many people right now today could run at a decent pace of 1,500 meter. Just run it. Never mind, swim it. Right? Like, and I'm not talking an Olympic pace. I'm just talking an average to say, so they say a 4-minute mile, right? Which is super fast. But let's go, if you want to go a kilometer in 5 minutes. So then could you run 1,500 meters in 7.5 minutes? How many people do you think could do that? Today, right now, could run it. I'm guessing not many at that time. And that's not that fast. And like, you have, like, real runners are running 1,000 meters in like ridiculous times. Like under 3 minutes. It's crazy. Right? Like, you look at the 800 meter is sub two minutes now by the best runners. So we're going 1,000 at 5 minutes. So, which is still, and maybe that's even too fast. But my point is, that race is grueling. So good for her. Now, did they not, though, Cons? So they really just introduced this race at the last Olympics, if I'm not mistaken, correct? The 1,500 meter? Deck and double check that. I thought they did. And they didn't really have, because I was watching last night, and they said the time to qualify is now 23 seconds faster today than it was at the previous Olympics. 23 seconds difference. It's pretty significant in swimming. Right? That's a much lower time to get in. So there's more people doing it. So it's she's great for her, but it's hard to beat Phelps. I'm sorry. You can't do it.
He's got more goals than anyone else.
Yeah.
It's 23, and then 3 silvers. That's great.
Yeah. Now I know that they have lots of different. He swam everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that helps for sure.
You're in a sport where there's different categories and team events as well.
Like if Usain Bolt had the 100 meter, and then he had like the 100 meter running backwards, but do you think he'd still be pretty fast?
The sidestep.
Well, maybe not sidestep because I'm trying to. Well, I guess they have hurdles, right?
Yeah,
so hurdles is kind of, but still different. Because in swimming, your lower body, well, it's not the same in butterfly that it is in freestyle. That's for sure. So like you're still kicking, but in different, like your legs are in different positions for sure. So it's still amazing what he did. Don't get me wrong, because everybody who's an elite swimmer can do what he did, and they can't. So that's what makes him so good. Hey guys, it depends what's chasing me. Oh, fair, I guess, but I'll say this: your adrenaline. Is it going to last for 1,500 meters? That's a really good question. How far could you run fast when you were scared? Until eventually your body's just like, I wonder. How many of you out there can run under 5 minutes a kilometer? Just let me know. Average pace. So if you're doing 5K, you can do 5K in under 25 minutes right now today. Just text in and say, I'm a sub 25 minute in 5K. If you are. I'm curious. Cons, you are?
No, I'm waving at people.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, easy. Make it 4 minutes.
You can run under 5?
No.
Oh. See, when I did, the last time I ran, I was at 22 minutes. But I was a runner growing up. And that's, when Struds and I decided that stupid decision where we're just, we're going to run 75K this month in August. God, that was dumb. But, but I was a runner. But I'll tell you, my wife is infuriated because she's a jogger, but she can't do it. And she jogs more than I do. So I'd be curious.
When I was temporarily unemployed last summer, I was doing the gym, the treadmill, getting out for runs every day. I would probably be, 5.5, 6.
Okay.
So I was getting there, and that kind of dropped off.
Okay.
Yeah, not under 5.
Yeah. So like a 1,500 meter swim. Like, I wonder how you'd rank that against, like, is it as hard as a marathon? Probably not. Just because, like, especially now, it's like the marathons today, it's freakish what they do. Like, freakish. To think that you can run a marathon in 2 hours. Like, as I've said before, go train for, I don't care, all summer and see if you can run 100 meters in 15 seconds. And if you can, then you have to tell yourself, now I'm going to do that pace for 2 straight hours. Because that's what a 2-hour marathon pace is. 15 seconds, basically every 100 meters. Like, it's bananasly fast. Bananas. Quick break. When we come back, our next guest, I don't know if he can run that fast, but he is probably pretty excited about what's coming up this weekend. We'll get to that after the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Summer will be a blast with the return of the fan favorite watermelon explosion. Download the Boosters Reward app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Canadian swimmer Sarah McIntosh won her second Olympic gold medal in Paris with a victory in the women's 200-meter butterfly. She also won the 400-meter individual medley and was a silver medalist in the 400-meter freestyle. The 17-year-old from Toronto is the first double gold-winning Canadian since Donovan Bailey back in 1996. McIntosh also took part in the 4x200 freestyle relay, where Canada finished fourth. Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime team defeated Norway's Kasper Ruud earlier today in the quarterfinals of the men's tennis singles. The 23-year-old now guaranteed to compete for a medal in both men's singles and mixed doubles. He is set to face Spain's Carlos Alcaraz, who defeated Tommy Hall from the U.S. in their quarterfinal matchup. The Canadian Olympic women's basketball team fell 70-65 to Australia in group play, dropping to 0-2 in the tournament. Their next action will be do-or-die situation, taking on Nigeria on Sunday. They'll need some results to go their way in other groups as well. And the Canadian 3x3 team featuring the Plouffe sisters defeated host France by a score of 13-9. The Edmonton Oilers announcing today that they will induct retired players Craig McTavish and Randy Gregg into the Oilers Hall of Fame. The pair will officially be inducted when the Oilers host the Penguins on October 25th. Major League Baseball today, just 5 games on the schedule. The Orioles are in Cleveland. Tigers host the Royals. Marlins taking on the Braves. Cubs host the Cards, and the Rockies meeting the Angels. In the CFL, Week 9 kicks off as the 2-6 Bombers host the 5-2 Lions. That gets going at 6:30. The Edmonton Riverhawks in action tonight, once again taking on Victoria before heading to Port Angeles. In the NFL, we got preseason football. The Bears take on the Texans in the Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio. And off the field, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert has been diagnosed with plantar fasciitis in his right foot. The club says that the doctors will recommend 2 weeks in a walking boot before he'll be ready to play in Week 1. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by CEBL Commissioner Mike Morreale. We'll talk some baseball with Gabe Locks of USA Today, and Colin Livingston joins us for the Cantork Race Report. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Need to clean the ducts in your home or office? Or maybe you need AC or a furnace tune-up. Whether you have problems with dust, odors, or wildfire smoke, Modern Air and Water can help. Visit modernairwater.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Hey, Elks fans!
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Whatever the project, big or small, when you need metal cut precisely and promptly, you need Metal Supermarkets. That's right, fast, so you can get it done, then enjoy the sun. Imagine what you'll do with all that extra time.
I've always wanted to try bird watching. So peaceful, Hey, a woodpecker. That's my leg. What the actual...
Maybe find another summer pastime, but in the meantime, see the pros at Metal Supermarkets, the convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself a real good time. I feel alive. The world.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, your one-stop shop for everything you need from fishing rods and reels, tackle and boat accessories to motorcycle gear, water sport accessories to e-bikes. Find your more at Sherwood Power Sports and Marine.
Shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. A racing car passing by like Lady Gaga.
Just after 3 o'clock. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. The Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code SUMMER. Of course, because it's summer. And hey, maybe it's for Macintosh, but we had it before. She has the 2 golds, but it's good timing. And you get a $50 free casino play at PlayAlberta.ca. Use your game sense. Go to gamesense.ab.ca and stay within your limits. The Edmonton Stingers will have a home playoff game on Sunday. The only thing we don't know is who they will play, as Calgary faces Winnipeg on Friday, and the winner will come to Edmonton to take on the Stingers. The commissioner of the CEBL, Mike Morreale, joins us once again. Mike, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, Mike, you look at this league and it's, over 5 years now, 6 actually, and it's been like it's getting stronger. It hasn't reached a level where, it's like, now we're struggling. It actually seems to be getting stronger. There's more interest. And as the commissioner, how do you find the balance? Because, people always think, bigger is better. We got to have more teams. But sometimes that isn't the best move. How have you kind of massaged that and the plan as far as ensuring that the quality of play maintains rather than worrying about expansion right away?
Yeah, I think, we're blessed that in terms of quality, the quality of play gets better every year. It's just more players speaking more about the CBL across the world. So access to talent has really been something that has allowed us to grow and to grow quickly, and not just by number of teams, but just in general, especially with the talent level. And as we look to the future, it does include expansion, and there are preferred markets, likely 4 to 6 more, off the top of our heads. And it all comes down really at this point to the types of owners and the ownership groups that present to us. We're hoping to continue the trend of finding owners like we have for most of our Western teams, and then in Scarborough with that team, and continue to grow this league, by markets, but also by bringing in the right people. And what allows us to do that is the amount of talent that's out there. And usually in a Canadian league, you're kind of limited to expand because of Canadian talent or lack thereof, just in terms of sheer numbers. But in our case, we're really blessed. It's really, we have a very, very deep pipeline, and one that continues to grow exponentially, especially with the success of the Raptors and success of obviously the bronze medal at the World Cup and what's currently going on in the Olympics.
Now the championship weekend, you plan it. It's in Montreal. Is the plan to maintain that, or as your league grows, will you eventually want the championship to be played in the markets with the two teams in the final?
Yeah, that will happen. So you'll see that happen. We have committed to Winnipeg for 2025, but don't hold your breath beyond that. I think you'll likely see that happen very quickly, and that's just again based on the growth of our league. What we're currently living in the current plans really take into consideration, us balancing the growth and balancing the exposure. And, that's why we had a host buy to start. And that's why we did things the way we did to make sure if we're selling playoff tickets, we're selling playoff tickets. We're not selling empty buildings. So, now that we've grown to a more critical mass, now it becomes like, okay, it's time to not reverse course, but alter the course into something that makes a little bit more sense for our local markets, because they want to host championship games in their local markets if they're the highest seed and have earned that right. So you will likely see that, shortly after the 2025 season. And again, that just speaks to how this league has grown over the course of time.
Yeah. And you know what? It made sense to start. I thought it was great, right? Brings teams in, somebody has it, you can plan it out. But, as it grows now, you're going to want the best teams in the final and not having a host team, get in there with necessarily maybe not being a great team or anything like that. And plus, then their fans of both good teams have an opportunity to be, in their markets and sell out and create even more of a frenzy.
Yeah, and I think why we've been able to kind of make these decisions is we've together as a group, and the board and the owners understand where we are in our cycle of growth, and understand that there needs to be some alterations, but we will do that properly. We'll walk there. Obviously, we didn't want to give up whatsoever on the opportunity in Winnipeg. We just have a tremendous opportunity that we would be crazy to walk away from or to alter. And then beyond that, as we look towards, not having the potential of a championship weekend, what do we do to replace that? Is there an all-star event? Is there another big event? Because what we've created at Championship Weekend with that kind of festival mindset needs to maintain itself and needs to still exist. So you'll likely see us replace Championship Weekend with something else during the season.
Joined by CEBL Commissioner Mike Morreale. The Edmonton Stingers, of course, are hosting a playoff game this Sunday. They'll host either Calgary or Winnipeg. They play Friday night, and the winner will come to Edmonton. Mike, when you look at kind of since you've been in as the commissioner and you talk about the growth, and most importantly, the players are a big reason. You need solid ownership, and then you need good players. And how the league is perceived kind of outside of Canada is a big one. You have lots of Americans. You've seen more European players coming here. And so is a 20 game, is that kind of like the magic number that you'd like to keep? Like, we'll get more teams, but 20 games, the length of the season seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, so not so breaking news. About a month ago, we announced the expansion to a 24-game season next year. So we will extend the league timing by about 3 weeks, about a week at the beginning, a couple weeks at the end. We understand That's about the limitations we have right
Okay.
now under our current model. We could extend further, but then it means that we'd have to really think about how do we keep back players and how do we compensate them appropriately, from what they're used to in European dollars. And I'm not sure we want to be more than what we are. I think we really fit quite nicely into the basketball landscape. We're very well respected, to your point, outside of this country in terms of the caliber of play, the level of play, the style of play, which is a lot different than most, domestic leagues, and the pathway we've created for players to the NBA or the G League or to bigger contracts in Europe. So the timing works for us. Getting more home dates is important to our owners because to make this successful, we do need to generate revenue and be profitable and continue to grow. So, and the players automatically get a 20% bump because they're playing 20% more games. We pay on a per game basis. So everybody wins in this scenario. The fans certainly do. They've always asked us for more and more and more, and they likely will continue to ask us for more, and we'll figure out ways how to do that in the future. But I think, we'll maintain the 24 game for a while. And if and when it makes sense to go beyond that, we likely will. And that'll be based on how we're doing at that time. But I think the jump to 24 next year will be and is well received, and I think it'll add that extra time in market is important, right? Not just for players and fans, but for sponsors and for TV and all that stuff. More is better.
Now, when you look at expansion, Mike, and you see right now you got 5 West and 5 East, it's very even, it's perfect. You look at cities. Do you need, because you do have Ottawa and Montreal and Vancouver and Edmonton and Calgary, and then you got Niagara and Scarborough, which are right outside of Toronto. Is the far East Coast realistic for you in expansion? I know being a CFL guy, you would know, like it's been the thing that's talked about forever in the CFL, and it's never come to fruition. Now it's different because I think there's arenas where you could play already for the CEBL that football just doesn't have. So. Is it a market that you feel is necessary for your league?
Is it necessary? No.
Okay.
Could it be complementary and beneficial? Yes. But to a specific market, in this case, that market would be Halifax. I think that's the market that makes the most sense in terms of, travel and getting to and from and building in some, because you have to keep scheduling in mind, like you said. And that makes the most sense. We did have a season in Newfoundland a couple of years ago, and we learned very quickly the politics out there are a lot different than maybe we're used to everywhere else. So I'm not sure, and unfortunately, a lot of those maritime markets have had other leagues come and go and continue to come and go, primarily US-based leagues, and they're in and out and in and out, and that's unfortunate. We're not that type of league. We want to make a commitment, and we're a national property, and we want to really drive home the importance of us being a Canadian league and developing Canadian talent, et cetera, and showcasing worldwide talent. So I think Halifax, well, I know Halifax because I've had those discussions already, is a primary target, and they've proven year over year that they're a basketball market. And I don't think that's a stretch to head that way.
Mike, odd question for you. You in your league this year, there's only one team that has a winning record on the road. That's Edmonton. And, every team is at least 500 at home. What is it about a home court advantage in the CEBL?
That's a great question, because from my position, I hope every home team wins their home games and we figure out the playoffs when we do. But that's a good stat, because obviously what happens at home translates, generally speaking, into more bums and seats or more merch or wherever, just more fandom. I will tell you that every one of our markets is different, from Scarborough and their kind of temporary facility now, what it's like to play in that environment, to what it's like to play in Winnipeg and arguably what it's like playing in an NBA environment, to the intimacy of Edmonton and the loudness in Montreal and Calgary. Everyone has their little idiosyncrasy. So I think that really shows that there is a home court advantage in our league. Like the amount of, whether it's noise or whether it's the way that people are crammed in there or whatever it may be. For instance, in Winnipeg, there is a no doubt a drop off in free throws made from every team that goes in there, because it's like playing in a zoo. It's crazy. So however that's happening, I hope it continues, because it does certainly, from the broader sense, make for more excitement at home is good.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's kind of interesting. I know everybody likes to have a home floor advantage, but it doesn't always work. And this year in the CBL, it is. Anything, Mike, that you look at as a commissioner in your league that you say, you know what, now it doesn't mean it'll be changed immediately. We've talked about the playoff format, so that's one thing. I think I've talked to fans. They love the game format with the score, and you get to 4 minutes left, and then it's okay. Now it's the first team to the number, and that makes it a little bit more exciting. There's fewer timeouts. It doesn't last as long. I think it's great. Is there anything that you look at, you hear from fans, or you hear from owners or players that might be looked at as a change in the near future, other than the playoff format?
We don't get a lot of pushback on the rules of the game per se. The FIBA game is a good game. It flows quite nicely. We will be adding a wrinkle into the playoffs this year, which is more NBA-esque, and that's the ability to challenge a foul in target score time. So we do look at, FIBA maybe isn't the greatest in that situation. So how do we lean on maybe an NBA variation, but make it FIBA? That's kind of how we think. How do we make the league better? We generally don't wait unless we have to, but then again, we don't just throw things in arbitrarily. In this case, that'll be an upcoming change. And then I think, for me, when I look at, when we play, where we play, this beautiful country, and the proximity to the U.S., and, our relationship with the G League and the NBA, I want to see more high talent players come up here. I think the platform is there. It may cost a few bucks more to get it done, but at the same time, I do know that all those reasons I laid out before, the fandom around the NBA, whether it's a up-and-coming player like a Bronny James, or it's a recently retired player like DeMarcus Cousins, or whoever it may be, they have star power in North America. And that star power, similar to the MLS kind of structure, can really put more eyeballs on your product, and more eyeballs can help you grow the game and the revenues associated with it.
Mike, great stuff, man. Really appreciate it. As always, best of luck, and we'll see you. Where's the commish going? Do you travel on the road to any of the playoff games?
I've been traveling all year, so the commish is staying in Ontario the Friday and Sunday, and then of course I'm off early to Montreal. So I wish I was out in Edmonton on Sunday. It's one of my most favorite environments, and whoever they end up playing, it will be a tremendous game. So I wish everybody all the best out there, and we'll see what happens next.
Mike, always good to talk to you, man. Continued success in the CEBL.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.
That's Mike Morreale, the commissioner of the CEBL. We have a lot of people texting. Maybe he should be the commissioner of the CFL. Former player, he knows the league very well. You know what? Give him a lot of credit. You look at when the CBL and where they've started and where they've come to now, it's been a great success story. There's lots of people who thought, it wasn't going to last. Not only has it lasted, it's thriving. The Stingers game, final regular season game, was sold out. You got a playoff game this Sunday. I went to get tickets today, and it's almost sold out, which is a great sign. They don't even know who they're playing. It's either going to be Winnipeg or Calgary. I don't think it matters. Why should it matter? They're going to be there. You want to go? You can get your tickets. Go to thestingers.ca, and you'll see it right on the front page. You can't miss it, and away you go. If you've yet to be to a game, I'd highly recommend going. It's a load of fun, and it's super affordable. Not only for the ticket prices, but for the food and beverage prices. Very affordable. Quick break. We'll return on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Gabe Locke from USA Today.
From Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge, it's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Hey Edmonton, it's Jordan Baker, coach and general manager of the Edmonton Stingers. Come cheer us on at our home playoff game this Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Edmonton Expo Center. It's our last game here in Edmonton this season, so come experience the thrill of Stingers basketball. Edmonton's most affordable, family-friendly excitement. Tickets start at just $20 and parking is free. Plus, enjoy our $5 food and drink menu. Get your seats online at thestingers.ca or Ticketmaster.
Does your bank do local? We do. When you bank with Vision Credit Union, you're banking with a rural Albertan cooperative that cares about the community where you live. There's no question. We actively support our rural communities at the local level through charitable donations, volunteerism, local team and event sponsorships, and by returning millions in profit shares to our members every year. Does your bank do that? We do local. Bank with Vision Credit Union. VisionCU.ca.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at No Bull is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
Hey, Deck, what Olympics did they change the headgear? $3:27. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, in Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As we get to our MLB report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Trust me, you don't want to be as hot as you were last week. So get the AC, get a great deal. Don't pay for a year. LegacyHeating.ca. And man, things were heating up this week in Major League Baseball. The trade deadline has come and gone. The Jays actually made 8 trades. Massive. There's tons of deals all over the place. Gabe Locke from USA Today here to break it down. Gabe, is there, of all the deals, was there any team that you thought was a clear, obvious winner?
Not particularly, just because, but you know, that's, you know, it stands to reason that would be the case because, you know, it just wasn't a very good deadline. And we kind of saw that from the get-go, from the standpoint that there's so many teams still in the wild card hunt, and the teams that were out of it or are going to be out of it didn't have a whole lot to offer. So yeah, it's tough to assign a pure winner. You know, these things usually are a little more obvious, I guess, but of course guarantee nothing. So you know, it's yeah, I think you're pretty much dead on there. No obvious winner. And pretty much every projected playoff team has a lot of flaws remaining, which makes the end of the season pretty intriguing.
No, yeah, very much so. You know, the National League, Gabe, and you've covered the league for a long time. You know, it's a great race with a lot of teams, but are any of them that good, or is it just a lot of average? Did we lose Gabe? I think we might have.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I think average is probably the best way to put it. The Phillies are a great team, but are not playing like it right now. And maybe that just so happens that every team has lulls like this over the course of a year. Theirs just happened to cross the trade deadline and thus gets a little bit more attention. But I think you're right. But I do think there's dangerous teams in there. I think obviously the San Diego Padres are starting to emerge as kind of a dangerous team just with what they've got going on, the bullpen that they've assembled, the 1-2 punch with Dylan Cease and Michael King, and the front six of their batting order, very dynamic now that Xander Bogaerts is healthy, really hitting the ball well since coming off the IL after the All-Star break, and Jackson Merrill certainly going to be in the hunt for Rookie of the Year. So it's I guess once again, let's go back to flawed. I think that's the best way to put it, because every team has its kryptonite, you might say.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I look at Pittsburgh, and if they get in a short series, when you got their starting pitcher, he might be able to win a series himself.
Yeah, and it's the interesting thing with that is they would almost certainly be a wild card.
Yep.
So that. But we're talking about a best 2 out of 3, so that certainly gives them a huge lift when you can get Paul Skeens into the mix there in a game 1 situation. I don't think they will have enough offense ultimately to get very far. It certainly would make for great theater if he's pitching a game 1 or a game 2 in a wild card series where that's going to comprise the majority of the outcome. It's gonna. You do see him though end up in a lot of 2-2 games. First time he went into the 9th inning, ended up with a really hard luck first loss of his career just because his offense couldn't quite do enough for him. So it's I certainly see that the Pirates could get in there, and I do think that they would be really interesting, but not sure they would get very far at all.
What do you make of the Jays and their trade with Houston? I saw a lot of people thinking, wow, you know what? They got so much for Kikuchi. Was this a great deal by the Jays, or is it too soon to tell?
I mean, they got the 3 best prospects supposedly from a very bad farm system. So it's, you don't get too excited. I think it's kind of funny. I think the level of angst on the Houston fan side was a little more out of proportion than the joy of the Blue Jays side. At least I was at the very least exposed to more Houston agita, it seems. Maybe Jays fans are just beaten down enough to not get too excited about anything. But I mean, all 3 of those guys could be useful major leaguers, but you kind of break it down, you look a little closer and you go, okay, who's the carrying prospect in this package? Did they just get 3 potentially useful players? Because in a perfect world, you get 1 major league regular, cornerstone, and then a couple of, lottery tickets or part-time guys or platoon guys. But I think for all the noise about it, it's probably an appropriate return for Kikuchi, which it's unfortunate that he pitched so poorly heading into the trade deadline. And I think the sort of volume of the trade suggests how kind of tight the market was, that they were able to get all 3 of those guys and be able to throw them at the wall and see which one of them sticks. So a lot of bluster about something that maybe wasn't this grand miscarriage of justice that a lot of folks might think.
You look in the American League. Gabe Locke joins us, and you've got there's pretty good races. The Yankees are right there with the Orioles. They each I think they have 1 more loss as we speak. Houston and Seattle are battling it out, and it's like whoever wins that division, the other team's probably not even going to make the playoffs at the rate they're going right now. So who do you like better out of Houston and Seattle, as both teams did try to load up?
Gosh, Seattle has played a little bit better and looked a little more livelier since adding to the offense. On paper, I prefer Houston. I love Seattle's pitching. I thought they had a really good chance to win the AL pennant this year, and that maybe their offense would get going. Maybe it will be a little bit different once Julio Rodriguez gets off the injured list. But Houston's track record and ability to do it. The one thing that's a little sketchy with them is you don't totally trust their pitching. A guy like Hunter Brown seems to kind of vacillate between a really great outing and then an outing where he kind of pitches them entirely out of the game. So that being said, I just don't think it's going to line up for the Mariners this year. I mean, I think they did yeoman's work to try to salvage this because it's certainly worth salvaging. And when you have that kind of starting pitching, it's definitely definitely you want to devote resources to it and definitely buy and all that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of damage has been done because they've wasted a lot of the good pitching. And who's to say, not to say that you're going to have injuries, but it's really tough for 5-6 starting pitchers to 32 times through the rotation, pitch to a really high level. And so when they've kind of squandered the brilliant performances that they've seen so far, it's I do think it's a really bit of an 8-ball kind of situation. That said, fresh blood, Randy Arozarena, Justin Turner, two very, very accomplished postseason players, been in a lot of pennant races. Maybe they'll loosen things up a bit. Maybe that's part of the problem. So a little too early to tell, but I do like what they've tried to do. I just don't know if it's going to have the effect that they need it to have.
And one last one, bad news again. If you're a Mike Trout fan, he's going to miss the rest of the season with another tear in his knee. Here's a guy who he's an all-world player, Gabe. Injuries have absolutely crushed his career.
It's so hard to see, just because he was so great for so long. And, you look at it now, 110, 112 games played all of the last two seasons, just 119 games, plus 36 games played in 2021. That seems like ages ago, so it's, his entire 30s have just been kind of washed away. But he's a Hall of Famer either way. The pelts that he has on the wall already as a 3-time MVP are so significant. You just want him, I think, and he wants to be able to get it back together health wise, to be able to go out there and be the guy that he is at some point. Just get back to being that guy. If nothing else, just be able to stay upright for 125 games. I mean, he hasn't done that since 2019. So really tough to see, but still not too terribly old. You just wonder how much, how many more times his body can break down and be able to bounce back from it. So, he'll try to get in 2025, and hopefully, hopefully things will go better for him for his sake and for those who enjoy watching baseball.
For sure. Well, Gabe, enjoy the stretch drive, man. We really appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome day.
You got it. Anytime, man. Thank you.
You're listening to Gabe Locke joining us from USA Today. So yes, baseball fans, bad news again. Mike Trout done for the season. He has another tear in his knee. When you trying to think in other sports, like great players that have been as banged up as him, like if in hockey, would we go back to Lindros? Would that be the closest comparable you can think of? Like Eric Lindros at his peak was dominant in the night. Now, part of his injuries were a little bit his own doing, skating with his head down too often. I understand it, but still, injuries are injuries. I look at Mike Trout, and I'm trying to think of a great, like truly great player in a sport that just, his body broke down more than he would have liked. Lindros is one. I'm trying to think of others. If you have any, let me know. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. When we return, lots of changes. We'll discuss them next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You see us working on the Yellowhead. You see us working on the LRT West project over on 104th Avenue. But what are we doing? We are GS Construction, and we're moving, upgrading, and repairing all of that underground infrastructure so that other work can go on. Things like maintaining water, wastewater, and stormwater draining services. Things you may take for granted, but definitely need. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. Find out more by going to gsconstruction.ca.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Summer adventures are more fun in a new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Home of the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada.
All this month, get 0% financing on all 2024 Mitsubishi models.
Plus, get up to a $3,000 trade-in bonus.
And double the loyalty rebate for all existing Mitsubishi owners, up to $1,000.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
Hey, just try him again. Welcome back. Thursday afternoon at Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. Kind of snuck up on us. The long weekend is here. Now, many of you on your way right now to Big Valley Pace yourself, boys and girls. I haven't been to Big Valley in a long time. But the few times I went, I think I went 3 times in my life. I always had a really good experience every time. Quite enjoyed it. Was fun. Had lots of now, granted, I never went I never went for a whole weekend. Like those are the diehards. Kudos to you if you're a full weekender at Big Valley. I went in, and usually I would come in like early on the Saturday, stay all night, and then I was gone Sunday. But I was never a full weekender. Cons, you ever go the whole weekend?
Been twice, once full weekend, once just a couple nights. But yeah, I'm not a country music guy either, so it was more so for the party.
Well, it's funny now, like country music has really changed somewhat. And, you see there's so many artists that are really into the country music right now. And, but country music, there's not as much of the old school traditional country music, I think would probably be the fair way to say it.
It's evolved a little.
Yeah, it's totally changed. And that's fine. I don't mind it at all. But sometimes between like kind of the pop music and the country music nowadays, like it's very much intertwined.
Yeah, I will say I do go camping with my friends, once or twice a year, and I'm not controlling the music, and they'll throw on a country song here or there, and it's pretty good. Luke Bryan, I think, was one of the big names that was there a year we went. I think he did a Thunderstruck cover. It was pretty cool. It's a fun time. If you've never been to Big Valley, I think you got to experience it at least once, just to go out there and have fun at the party at the very least.
Yeah. So we'll try to track down Livingston. See where I know he's out at the track, I think. So we'll try to get him up because there's lots going on. Man, Red Bull, is this another major blow for all you racing fans? The Racing Report brought to you by Can Torque, where you can get even better service right now. Of course, they have in-house machining, more accuracy, quicker turnarounds, improved quality control. Give them a call, 436-2000, or email colin@cantorque.com. But Jonathan Wheatley is leaving Red Bull. Their sporting director. Now, this is after chief designer Adrian Newey also left. Wheatley's going to finish the season, and then next year he is going to go over with Audi and Sauber. So, this could be interesting. Very interesting. You know what? Now, I know that fans who are diehards of Ferrari or Red Bull or whatever, they like a dominant team, and I totally understand it. But I don't have one team or one driver that I'm a huge fan of. I don't really have a big allegiance to one or the other. So for me, I like it when they're all competitive. Right now, I know that not every team is going to be competitive. I understand that. But there's 4 teams right now that are competitive. 4 teams have had somebody win a race this year. And that's a good sign. So to me, if all of a sudden this brings Red Bull back to the pack even more, even better. Now, maybe not for Red Bull fans, but or Max Verstappen fans, but we'll see, man. And that race, that was quite the race. If you happen to watch it, of course, now they're on the summer break, so they'll be off for a month. So we'll discuss all of that and more. Now we'll get into it as Livingston is ready to go. Would you get stuck in traffic? What's going on? Jeez, I thought you were a driver. Jeez, you can't even be lined by somebody quickly.
I saved my racing for the track. A little bit different today. Did something really unique. I actually got to play my home golf course today. So it's a little bit further from Blackhawk here than what I estimated. So I didn't time it properly. So that's as the kids say, that's my bad.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Jonathan Wheatley leaving.
Big time.
So that's like 2 major significant blows to Red Bull. Obviously, because I think in auto racing sometimes Max is great and sure he is. There's no doubt about it. He's a very skilled driver. Yeah. So what's the biggest challenge they're going to have in losing or replacing Wheatley?
I think the downside is already starting to manifest itself. Now, not with Wheatley, but with Adrian Newey leaving earlier in the year, the development of their upgrades is not matching what the car needs, and they're not finding the pace. Jonathan Wheatley being the sporting director, he was kind of the heir apparent to take over for like either to move more into Adrian Newey's role. He was also gunning, not necessarily like from a Predator standpoint, but he wanted to be a team principal, and he was kind of hoping that with the turmoil at Red Bull between Christian Horner and Helmut Marko, that he'd be able to kind of move into that role and maybe assume the team principal role at Red Bull. Obviously, the Thai family that controls half of the company, they have a lot to say. They're big Horner supporters. He's now played his card and he'll be gone, but he was the one that everyone pointed to saying, no, Red Bull's going to be okay because they still have Jonathan Wheatley there. He knows a lot of what was going on, and now at the end of the season, he's going to be gone. So it's a major, major blow to Red Bull.
So we get to the track, and Red Bull, you had Verstappen was sitting first, but then he has a 10 grid penalty, place grid penalty. So he drops to 11th and really, never really competed. So do you think had he not had that, where would he have finished in your eyes? Do you think would he have won that race?
Likely, yes, because it seemed like whoever was out front, whoever had that clean air, really was able to control the pace. It's a super, I heard one of the guys on the F1 broadcast talking about how Spa is a really easy place to pass. I'm not sure what race, and this is a former driver who should know better, but it's really not. I mean, there's only kind of two major overtaking spots. You get a little bit of an opportunity into turn 1, and then at the top of Eau Rouge going into, I think it's turn 4, that's another one. But otherwise, it's like Max made a couple of really awesome passes at the beginning of the race when he was on new tires, but once they get worn, it's a tough place to, Lewis Hamilton was over a second a lap faster than George Russell at the end of the race, but once he caught him, Russell had just enough traction at turn 1 that he got the better drive off, and Lewis couldn't capitalize on anything, and it almost cost him second place.
Now, the 1.5 kilograms.
Yes, sir.
So for anybody who wasn't watching the race, Russell wins it. They do the one-stop strategy, and it worked. The wear on your tires might have played a factor.
Yep.
But you also mentioned something to me I didn't even think of that might have also played in a factor. Like 1.5 kilos isn't a lot.
No, it's just under 3 pounds.
So what's different about Spa that might have actually hurt Russell because he didn't do a celebratory lap?
So what is unique about Spa compared to the other tracks is normally they cross the start finish line. They do a whole in lap. They run the whole racetrack again.
Yes.
Gives them a chance with their hot tires to drive offline, and they pick up marbles. So they pick up all the tires get really hot and sticky. They drive offline, and all the discarded tire turns into little balls that we call marbles, because when you drive off track, it feels like you're driving on marbles.
Okay.
He didn't get a chance to pick up all that tire rubber, which would have added weight because he
What do you think it would have added that much?
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Really?
For sure.
Wow.
He lost more weight during the race than Lewis did. So just through perspiration.
Okay.
They had more wear on their barge board than they had anticipated, but because they did a one stop, they wore more of their tire. So the combination of Russell, losing more weight than they had predicted, not being able to pick up the rubber, and a little bit more wear on the car. And yeah, you come up 1.5, but it's up to the team to understand, yes, you've got to run as close to the line as possible, but they didn't give themselves any buffer in that case.
Yeah. So, it was unique, and hey, rule's a rule. Some people said, oh, it's not much, but they have a weight limit, and that's the rule. If you're under, you're over, then that's the difference. And so, but what about the strategy here? This whole cover off stuff. McLaren had it the week before, and then basically forced Norris to have to give up a way big lead to PS3. Then you had it again this time with Hamilton. Are they overthinking things here?
It seems like they are. I mean, the undercut seems to be the biggest move right now, but the undercut only comes into play when you get long into a tire stint. So all the drivers that are on the track are on old tires and they've significantly slowed down their pace. Somebody comes in on new tires, they've got a massive speed advantage, and they can use that to not only close the gap, but they can generally pull ahead by the time the teams in front finally make their pit stops. That wasn't really the case, especially for Mercedes, because, you know, Lewis said even in the cool down room after the race, before he knew that Russell was going to be disqualified, he's like, I had plenty. He's like, I think it was Piastri asked him, why didn't were you guys even thinking about a one stop, or were you guys forced to a two stop? He's like, no, I had plenty of rubber left on my tires. So they put the drivers out. They tell them that they need to manage the tires so that they could potentially do a one stop race, but then they pull them in and turn them into a two stop. So they're not getting the benefit of the tires. And, you know, somebody like Russell, you know, Alonso also ran a one stop race. Came in at weight, by the way. But yeah, Mercedes kind of messed up their strategy. They got it bang on right with Russell, aside from not having him set up properly. But if they let Lewis run harder while he was on his tires to maximize what the car would do, he would have ended up
way ahead anyway,
being ahead of Russell. Yeah. And then Russell would have had to defend against Piastri and Norris at the end of the race. Easy to say now, but you know, when you hear what the driver says afterwards, like, I had plenty of tires left when we were making the stops. It doesn't make sense looking backwards why they didn't either try and go for a one stop or let him run at a higher pace.
Yeah. Colin Livingston joins us in the Cantor Racing Report. Carlos Sainz, it's now decided he's going to Williams next season. There's a seat open at Mercedes and Alpine, Sauber and V-Carb. Well, what do you make of it? What any predictions on who's filling those seats?
No, it's pretty messy right now. I mean, with Jonathan Wheatley leaving, before he left, there was speculation that Sainz might get pulled into the Sauber seat. The fact that he didn't had a lot of people saying, like, well, it just shows that, you know, their program's really in disarray and their program's this and that and the other thing. But the fact that
clear not,
well, they've signed Jonathan Wheatley to become their team principal.
Yeah.
So obviously there's more structure there than what some people understand. With Sainz going to Williams, that's going to be interesting. One thing that nobody's talked about, and I've had in the back of my head, is there is potential, because Williams is affiliated with Mercedes. They run Mercedes engines, and there's a big connection with James Fowles, former tech at Mercedes AMG. I wouldn't be surprised if they try and move Alex Albon up from the Williams seat into the Mercedes seat with George Russell next year, even on a one-year basis, until they can get, you know, and maybe they put Kimi Antonelli, who's the heir apparent, into the Williams to get him, you know, 1 or 2 years of experience. Nobody's talking about it as a potential, but I could see that could maybe happen.
So Verstappen now hasn't won in 4 races. First time since 2019 that in back-to-back races he's not on the podium.
Yep.
Red Bull has clearly come back to the pack, or has the pack caught up to Red Bull? What do you think?
No, the pack has not only caught, but they've surpassed. Max can still do more with that car than anybody else. He's still easily one of the best drivers in the world. But what Max hasn't learned how to do, and where he starts making mistakes, is when he tries to drive beyond the capability of the car, drive beyond the ability of the car, tries to make a pass that isn't there, which is how he got into trouble in Hungary. It's how he used to get in trouble in the past when he's under pressure to become a world champion. You can only take what the car will give you. And we're starting to see more desperate Max. We're starting to see more, you know, it's not aggressive, because it's not like he knows that he can make it work if he just pushes a little bit harder. It's that he's driving way over his head and way beyond the capability, with the idea that if he throws it in, somebody else is going to back out of it. And drivers have learned it's a whole lot better to hold your ground, so that Max knows he can push you around. Then if you keep backing out, then he'll just keep pushing further and further.
Now let's move to NASCAR Canada. A great race this past weekend in Wetaskiwin. Huge crowd. I think that's the biggest crowd they've ever had for this one. Well, why do you think that? Maybe weather. I don't know if there's more excitement. Is the fact that there's there was fewer cars in the race.
Yep.
Did that appeal to people more? What do you think?
Well, I mean, people who bought tickets didn't know what the field would end up being because you
Okay.
only find out close by. There was a lot of promotion by local sponsors. This was the Napa 300. Napa put a lot of people in the grandstands. Ron and Loretta Thiering, they do a great job at that track. They put, everything that they have into developing that facility. I promise you, if you went out there today, Ron's out there building something, fixing something, mowing the grass, doing something, and it's only a Thursday. So yeah, I was really happy to see it. I mean, we get a really good vantage point up on the spotter stand. So there's a stack of, 4 or 5 sea cans. We get the highest view. And as I looked almost a kilometer west of the track on the highway and a kilometer east, the highway was packed with parked cars because the parking lots were overflow. People were like double parked into the ditch a kilometer in either direction. So it was awesome to see. It was like crazy busy on the track for the autograph session. Kudos to the fans because there were people who stood in line at least an hour getting out of the grandstand to stand in line to get their chance to get on the track, to get their signature, to get to meet their favorite driver. And people did it. There was no pushing. There was no shoving. Like, it was unlike anything we've ever seen. So yeah, really, really happy for the event, really happy for the series. And having seen Wetaskiwin run with upwards of 20 cars at one point, I got to say 12 cars is probably the perfect number because even though there was a bit of on-track action, it wasn't like some of the chaos we've seen where cars are like upside down and 2 cars on top of each other and, big crashes into the walls and stuff like that. So yeah, it was an absolutely amazing event.
Colin, great stuff, man. Enjoy it. And we'll chat with you again next week.
Hopefully on time.
Yeah, there you go. That's Colin Livingston in the Racing Report, brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Albatross Roofing. They have immediate openings for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. You must-have experience with the SPF Modamine bitumen systems. You can apply at roofingalbatross with 2 S's.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Canadian swimmer Sarah McIntosh won her second Olympic gold medal in Paris with a victory in the women's 200-meter butterfly. She also took part in the 4x200 freestyle relay where Canada finished 4th. Felix Auger-Aliassime defeated Norway's Kasper Ruud on round 3 quarterfinal action in the men's tennis singles. The 23-year-old now guaranteed to compete for a medal in both the men's singles and mixed doubles. And the Canadian women's basketball team fell 70-65 to Australia. They'll need a win against Nigeria on Sunday for any chance to move on. The Canadian 3-on-3 team featuring the Pooh sisters defeated host France 13-9. The Edmonton Oilers announcing today that they'll induct Craig McTavish and Randy Gregg to their Hall of Fame on October 25th when they take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Major League Baseball 5 games today. The Orioles in Cleveland, Tigers host the Royals, Marlins take on the Braves, Cubbies, Cards, and the Rockies up against the Angels. In the CFL, Week 9 kicks off as the BC Lions head to Winnipeg to take on the Bombers. That'll start at 6:30. In the NFL, you got the Hall of Fame game tonight, Bears and Texans, and the Riverhawks wrap up their series in Victoria just after 8 o'clock. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Ken Reid and Rangers analyst Dave Maloney. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina. Next, you're going to tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they won't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply. The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantork.com.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Watch the band through a bunch of dancers. All that I know was something more familiar. Lately, something familiar.
Just after 4 o'clock. Welcome back. Another gold medal day for Canada at the Olympics. And once again, it's Summer McIntosh getting it done in Olympic record time today as she sets a Canadian best, personal best, Olympic best. What a performance. And she's 17 years of age. Turns 18 on the 18th of this month. That is fantastic. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. It's PlayAlberta.ca. Let's go around. Actually, we'll go to our In the Room report brought to you by Action Electrical, where you can take action on your savings. Now, they got 4 divisions. Solar. They also have electrical preventative maintenance, TAG, for all of those in the industry. You know what I'm talking about? And more. Anything you need done, electrical-based, that can help you save money, actionelectrical.net. As we are joined, Ken Reid from Sportsnet joins us once again. Reader, how you doing?
I'll tell you how I'm doing, Gregor. Terry Ryan's in town with his father, senior. They offered me a ticket to go to Green Day with him tonight, but I have to work. That's how I'm doing.
Oh, God, that's a real kick in the gonads, Kenny. You didn't all of a sudden call in.
No.
I got the black lung.
Total professional. Because can you imagine Green Day with senior and Terry?
God.
That'd be a lot of fun. They're down at my favorite sports bar in town, the Bottom Line, right now, getting all lubed up, ready to go. So those boys know how to rock.
Oh, yeah, they'll have a lot of fun. Now, you've written some really unique books, Ken. Have you ever thought of like a book similar like that, but around the Olympics?
Ah, interesting. No, like just kind of like your Olympic moment kind of book for people that maybe didn't win gold. That
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the Eddie the Eagle type of people.
Yeah, the Eagle moment. Yeah, the Jamaican bobsled team. Yeah, I mean that's what we forget when we watch sports is you might be watching a hockey game or a baseball game and a guy comes in out of the bullpen. He's just called up. He's 36 years old. You go, but he sucks. I'm like, no, he doesn't suck. That's his moment. And anybody at the Olympics, they're diving in the pool. They finish 8th in the semis. You go, oh, well, that stinks. No, that doesn't. stinks. That person's in the Olympics. That's pretty incredible. So that would be a great book. That's a fantastic idea. You should write it.
Okay.
I'm tired from writing. I got a book due at the end of the month, so I'm tired. I just did an interview for it today.
You have a book due at the end of the month?
Yeah, I got
Can you tell us what it's about?
Sure, why not? It's just talking to old hockey scouts and getting some tales, getting some stories.
Nice.
So I talked to, there's a couple Oilers scouts involved. I talked to the great Archie Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
Archie filled me in, gave me some good stories. And I just got off the phone today with a scout who told me an amazing story about the Florida Panthers trying to draft a certain grade 8 before he was eligible.
Oh, yes, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's told me that story and a few other trinkets. So yeah, it's coming out. Geez, this is a scoop for you, Gregor. It's coming out fall 2025 with Simon & Schuster. I don't have a title yet. I'm definitely not going to use Scout's Honor, but if you can figure a good title, just let me know. I'll put you in the thank yous.
Oh, dude. Hey, you know what? Now, if it was nicknames, I've come up with some really good nicknames, but hey, book title, I might try that.
Yeah.
Like
book that. Titles are always the title and then a line underneath it.
It's true. Yes, it's very true.
Yeah.
So I could get one of those. I don't think I can get two, Kenny. I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too much of ask for me. Like I might be able to give you one. I don't think I could give you both.
Okay, so it's just old hockey scouts telling me awesome stories.
Yeah.
You know, like my books are like sitting around the bar having a beer.
Yeah. I like it.
So if you come up with something or anyone comes up with something, just tweet at me.
Well,
at me, as they say.
Yeah. We could text them in. I'll send them to Kenny. 833-401-1440. Do it now. The Olympics, Ken. It's been quite the Olympics. Lots going on here. You know, you've got the drone, and no one wants God. It's thankfully in theory it's over as far as the punishment goes for the Olympic team, but something tells me that the story in Canada is not going away.
It's not over. First off, sorry, but if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But also, don't be a moron about it. If you go into a no-fly zone, don't fly a drone. Here's the thing. Cheating scandal, right? Like, remember Bill Belichick and recorded practices, right? You're busted by the other team. These morons were busted by the police. Like, they're flying a drone at the Olympics in a no-fly zone. What are you doing? I mean, I'm getting ready for my soccer game. I got my cleats. I got my shorts. I got my diving tools. Oh, my drone. Like, come on. Let's go. It's like, this is going to run deep. And you know what's interesting is I think in Canada we're doing the us against the world, rallying behind the girls. And the girls deserve the utmost respect. They weren't the ones flying the drones.
Sure.
Their moron coaching staff was. I doubt the rest of the world is all kind of cool with, it's those Canadian girls are bouncing back. I doubt that's the story outside of Canada. But if they win gold, Timmy McAuliffe said it on the air last night on Sportsnet Central. It's the ultimate heel turn. This is like since Hulk went to the NWO, right? When he went NWO, this is a massive heel turn, and it's everybody wants to be the bad guy. So the Canadian women are the bad guy right now. But yeah, I think this is going to run deep. I think Rick Westhead has done an amazing job on this story. It's going to run deep, and I don't think it's going away.
No. Where do you come out on the fact that, you had a lot of men come out and say that, they got tape from the Honduras, right? Drone, but none of the women have ever seen any of the footage. And the only reason I asked that question is we've seen people in all walks of life. Rafael Palmeiro is one of my favorites, pounding his hand on the table, and people are like, oh yeah, he would never lie. And then turns out he lied. And there's been lots of cases of people to do it. Do you think there's a chance that some of them saw this, or is it just only started in the women's side?
Maybe a little bit of both. I'm not familiar with women's soccer enough to know that, but yeah, I think it's only natural to be skeptical. And we live in a world where the truth often comes out years later. And you're right, Rafael Palmeiro, wagging the finger at Congress. So yeah, I think it's only right to be skeptical. The kind-hearted, good person in me wants to give them the benefit of the doubt.
True.
The journalist in me wants to say maybe there's something else there. So it'll be interesting to know. The sad part is like, even if you're a player on the men's side and your coach comes with you and the pregame is it's drone footage showing you what Honduras did, what are you supposed to do as a player? Oh, get that out of the machine. We can't watch that. Like, you're being told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So from the players' part, it's hard to I think it's hard to signal out the players because they aren't the ones getting the drone up there. They aren't going into the pregame meeting going, hey, do you got any drone footage to show us? The coaches are presenting this to them.
Yeah.
And the whole other thing, too, I think what we really should do, and it annoys me when football has closed practices. I like that hockey has open practices. Just let everybody into the practice. Come on. Like, let's, we can fly drones overhead. Like, we've got enough technology. We can spy on anybody at any time. Just open the practices up. And at least that gets rid of that gray area of, oh, are they cheating? Just open the practice up. Come on. It's not top secret information, right? You're going to play in one of 3 possible formats, and you can scout the pregame from the last game. Just open it all up. I think that should be the next step that soccer takes, that football takes. We all love our trick plays, but come on, open it up, and then we can just get on with it.
Ken Reid joins us. Kenny, there's a few other things. We're into August now. We got the Holinka Cup coming up here in Edmonton. We're getting closer to another NHL season here in Edmonton. It's actually the shortest off season in Oilers franchise history.
We got to fix this.
Yeah, and I look at the NHL, and it's kind of being like a quiet off season, really. Like, there's been a few coaching changes and stuff like that, but nothing really like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. Like, if you had to pick, what's been your biggest surprise or your biggest wow of the NHL off season?
Great question. I honestly don't know if there is one. Like, maybe Stamkos to Nashville, but we all knew he was kind of leaving.
Yeah.
I think it'll look weird. I don't think there has been one. Because you know what? We didn't get a chance as fans to reset and prepare for the offseason because the Cup's handed out. Then there's the draft. Then there's free agency all within a week. As a fan, I feel cheated by that. As a player, if I was the Oilers or the Panthers, I would feel cheated because there's no recovery time for these guys. So, yeah, I know the NHL thinks it's cool to have this 365 news cycle, but as a fan, you need a reset. As a player, you definitely need a reset. So what's my biggest off-season story? Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, there's nothing that's kind of blown me away, blown me out of the water.
No.
But I think part of that, Gregor, I think it's just the fact that when the season ended, everyone was so exhausted. It was almost like, yeah, just get the draft and free agency over with, will you? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, there was no, oh, it's cool to see guys at the draft, 6, 7, 8 weeks after the season ended. Like, there was none of that because it was just too damn long.
Do you play fantasy football, Ken?
I do not.
Fantasy
I'm not
baseball, fantasy hockey, anything?
I go with Seinfeld's take on Kramer. What's he going to a fantasy camp for? His whole life's a fantasy. So no, I do not partake.
Oh, really? And that I can't believe Ivanka hasn't sucked you into playing in a league or something yet.
No. I've honestly never gotten into it. I remember winning an Antigonish Bulldogs preseason pool when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was advertised in the paper. But no, I honestly, Gregor, I don't need to sound like a dingleberry about it, but I don't have the time. It's never something I really enjoyed. I tried it in the past, and after 2 weeks, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out. I don't really, I don't have time to monitor this every day. I honestly don't.
Just for the chirping alone, I thought you'd like it.
I'll chirp anyway.
That is the greatest. Yeah, but it's more ammunition to chirp, and it's unbelievable when someone's really like Kevin Carius, our morning show host.
Yes.
He set a record in fantasy that I think will never be broken. He went 0-16 in the regular season.
Yeah.
And then lost both. He had like the perfect season. He didn't win a game in fantasy.
He's the opposite of the Miami Dolphins, 72 Dolphins.
Oh.
Well, there. So for anyone listening, that shows you how much guys in the media actually know. Be curious.
Oh,
come on.
Our league's tough, but I didn't think it was that tough.
Yeah.
That's
Eric Francis has had a massive hockey pool for got to be 25 years.
Oh, yes.
Now.
Yeah.
They've flirted with the idea of getting me involved, but I've never gone for it. It's not my thing. But then again, not every adult male collects hockey and baseball cards either. So to each his own.
So what? Okay, because I know you're a big collector. Like, do you have? So if somebody shows up at Ken Reid's house,
yeah.
Like, do you have like your favorite cards? Are they like in a safe? Where are they?
I can't tell you where they are. Somebody might break in, but yeah, I got display case. I got areas where I store them. I get people contacting me. It hasn't been happening in a while, but I got people contacting me on Instagram, on Twitter. Hey, look at my collection. Interested in buying it? And I bought some.
Really?
I've gone and met people, bought collections. I always say I'll pay you more than a dealer, but I won't pay you as much as retail. But yeah, and I've sold on eBay. But yeah, I have my little man room with all my cards. You know, my favorites up, and I know if you came to my house and say, hey, show me Rocket Richard rookie, I'd know where to go to get it to show you. And I show it a lot of times. Like my kids' friends are interested, so I'll show them, and
okay,
it's a good little way to teach them about hockey history.
So, at what age did you start protecting? Because I was one of those young kids who didn't know anything, and back in the 80s, man, like the best part of hockey cars was when you'd put it in the spokes of your tire, and all of a sudden it sounded like you have an engine. And sadly, you know what? One of those was a Gretzky rookie card. No, I'm not saying that it would have been kept in great shape either way, but at what point did you be like, oh, I got to keep these cards in good condition?
I got wise to it around 1986, 1987.
Okay.
7th grade, I got wise to it. I started protecting them, and then by 1990, it's just an all-out boom. So I'm already wise to it by the time it's going crazy. So instead of being the 14-year-old that was going crazy collecting them, which I was also the 14-year-old who was setting up at shows and selling them. So I had my own business cards with my brother. By the time I was 14, we'd set up at shows in Halifax.
Really?
And whatever money I'd make, I'd just spend on more cards. But it was fun. It beat having a job like a lot of my buddies had. But
yeah, that was your job, was collecting cards and then getting good ones to sell.
Totally. So I'd set up if you're 14, 15 years old, you set up at a show in Halifax and you're leaving with $500-$600 cash. That's a pretty good day. So, that was good.
And maybe you don't want to answer this question because it's personal, but asking it, like, what's the most you've ever sold a card for?
Yeah, it's up there. So yeah, it's up.
Like what card was it?
Bobby Orr rookie.
A Bobby Orr rookie card.
Yeah.
So
it's up there.
So when
I've sold a Wayne rookie as well. Not my personal Wayne, but one that I got and flipped. I've sold those.
So, but if I look at it, like, I guess it's a little bit like the stock market, knowing so. But like a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, I would assume is only going up in value. What would be the point of selling it?
Well, here's the thing. They were steady for a long time.
Yeah.
COVID came and they went through the roof, and now they've settled back down a little. So there was a sweet spot in there. I sold pre-sweet spot. I will say that.
Okay.
But it was a way again of just buying in. Like, I mean, I have my Gretzky rookie that my brother and I share that I would hopefully never sell. Hopefully I'll pass on to my kids. But
wow,
if someone comes to me with a collection and I want to buy it and I know I can flip it and make a few bucks on the side, I'll do it. I enjoy that. I enjoy getting the card in the hands of somebody that appreciates it. And I'm not one that needs my own personal collection in super, super fantastic condition. So if I see a little window to be an old time card dealer again, I'll do it. I enjoy it. I kind of like the art of the deal.
Oh, I like that a lot, actually. So is there like a whale? The whale for Ken Reid that you're out looking for?
Yeah, it's the 51-52 Parker's Gordie Howe rookie card. That's the one I want. That's the one.
And how many are there?
There's a lot.
Oh.
They're attainable.
Oh, okay.
A buddy of mine had 2 in grade 12. They were $1,200 a piece then. His dad had them. He brought them to school. And I mean, I didn't have $1,200 then. I wish I did. They go for a lot more than that now. But my white whale, yes, is a 51-52 Parkhurst Gordie Howe. So I got the Rocket from that set. I got Doug Harvey from that set. I got Ted Lindsay from that set. Howie Meeker from that set. But if anyone wants to give me one, by all means. So it's the 51-52 Parkhurst Gordie. Yeah, that's my card.
That's the birthday gift. You want to get on Ken Reid's good side.
Birthday's coming soon.
Yeah, 51-52 Gordie Howe. Well, Reid, we're gonna have to. Now that I know you're such a card aficionado, I'll have to keep that in mind for
let's keep doing it.
I
love talking cards. I could talk cards all day now. I know Brad, one of your producers, is into the modern
he's
stuff.
huge into it.
Yeah, Slater's into that, but I'm your old school connection. Like, I'm not. My kids collect the new stuff. I collect the old stuff, so it's a good balance.
Oh, I like it. Awesome, Reader. Great stuff, man. Appreciate it. Have yourself an awesome day.
All right, Gregor. Thanks, buddy. Talk soon.
There you go. That's Ken Reid from Sportsnet. I like it sometimes when go down a different path we didn't expect. Because I know there's lots of people who are big into collecting cards. It's fantastic. It's just a fun hobby. Why not? And at a young age, keeps you, get a little pride. You got to make sure you keep them in mint condition. So look, but don't touch. When we return, the New York Rangers, Trouba, they were trying to trade him, and I'm not getting traded. So he's not being traded. Lindgren signed a 1-year deal. What's going on in New York? We'll find out next. We go to Rangerville on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
It's the Bricks 53rd birthday bash, and you're invited to join us. We're kicking off the celebration with fabulous 5-day deals. From Thursday to Monday, take up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. And all week long, check out amazing deals in every department, like up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture, and buy more, save more, up to $300 off select major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Anything that's exposed to the elements or has moving parts needs regular maintenance. And when you consider an RV, well, it falls into both categories. Lots of moving parts and sitting out all the time, which is why we hire the best RV technicians in Alberta to come work here at our new, bigger store in Leduc.
Noble has giant indoor service space that can hold the biggest RVs in the world.
That's right, Bob. The vast majority of our indoor space at Noble is dedicated to service and repair. You spend the summer in the great outdoors, and we spend the winter doing scheduled maintenance, so you're ready to go next season.
Sounds like a year-round thing, Rick.
That's it exactly, Bob. Our techs are the most highly experienced men and women in the business. We're solving problems and creating solutions every day. Whatever your used RV needs, our service team has seen it before and knows exactly what to do.
And that's Noble. NobleRV.ca.
.429, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Rolling through a lovely Thursday. It's August 1st already. My goodness. And hey, with the heat, you want to keep cool? Whew. Make any day even more delicious. You can try the a cool, creamy sundae topped with hot fudge or caramel sauce for only $2, or get the triple thick milkshake. Again, only $2 plus tax all summer long at McDonald's. And we stop in New York today as we continue our Around the NHL as Dave Maloney, former NHLer, now analyst for the New York Rangers, joins us. Dave, happy summer. How are you doing? You a big Olympics fan?
Oh, yeah. I've been following that quite good. Following the Canadian swimmer, she's been great. And of course, Simone Biles is a big story. So yeah, it's been good stuff, really. And the coverage, again, for those of us that don't have like a regular job, we can kind of click it on all day long and find something. So it's been good. Oh, it's been great.
Now, you're an athlete, Dave. Is there a sport that you watch and you're just like, oh my goodness, now that's athleticism?
Probably gymnastics.
Yeah.
Like it is mind-boggling to me what they do. I mean, it's just, and that's the one. Biles went through the thing in Tokyo, right? Where boy, if you get a demon crawling around inside your head in that sport, you are cooked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of but to me the gymnasts are phenomenal. The distance swimming is mind over matter, but it's just great stuff. It's really great stuff, and I really enjoy it.
No, it's fun to watch. It's and 58-year-old table tennis, ping pong is in there. You got a 51-year-old from Turkey winning a silver medal in pistol shooting. Like, hey, never too old, Davey. Never too old. Still got the itch to compete.
Yeah, well, not quite. I tell you, I played quite a bit of ping pong when I worked those summers at Bobby Orr's camp. Okay, ping pong set up there. So that, and then I saw the badminton. The badminton is fantastic too. So there's just we're privy to things that we just don't normally see and don't appreciate. Just the athleticism across the board in different sports.
So now, when you're playing ping pong at Bobby Orr's camp, was Bobby Orr as good of a ping pong player as he was a hockey player?
You know what? I'm not sure I ever saw Bobby play ping pong. I can't. I'm not going to say. I don't want to ruin the image of Bobby by saying he wasn't any good. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
No, he's the greatest. He was my idol as a kid, and he's still to this day. Whenever I see him, I'm a little in awe of him. So he's a tremendous human being.
Well, and we were talking about Mike Trout. Who unfortunately had another injury today for the Angels, and like elite players where injuries just like obviously Bobby Orr, if we go way back, Eric Lindros, like there's just some guys where their body just unfortunately didn't hold up.
Well, I think it was particularly with Bobby. If Bobby had been privy to surgery that we all are privy to now, that would have been a different story. And if not Eric Lindros, when he was so big, so young for so long. And then, he got lost a quarter of a step, half a step, and you get Scott Stevens cruising through the middle, and, you're going to pay. And he did. And, again, Father Time does what it does, but, I just think as time has moved on, and that's another good thing about, when I can speak specifically to our sport is that, guys get to advocate for their health, and if they're not feeling right or if something's going on, there's many, many ways to kind of work your way through issues that, in our generation, it was a bit of a badge of honor to play hurt. And I'm not saying how bright we were, but that was just the way it was. And I think it goes back to the 6-team league where, if you found yourself out of the lineup, there was only 120 jobs, and you're probably going to lose your job if you didn't stay in the lineup. So that culture stayed there a long time, but I think the sport is much better off for having their athlete have the ability to advocate for their long-term health.
Yeah. 100%. It's 1,000 times better. Advocate for their health, but advocate where they want to play, Dave, and in transition to the Rangers and Jacob Trouba, right? He had the no move deal and the Rangers wanted to move, and he's like, no, I'm not going, right? Like, it's obviously his wife's got a job, and so I understand all that. How, and here, as a guy who played for a long time, and to be a captain of a team is a very important job. Do you think he can still be a successful captain when the organization wanted to move him?
Yes, I do, because he's absolutely idolized in that locker room.
Okay.
So I think, there's just so much white noise that, Chris Drury had the right to try and do what he thought he needed to do for the franchise moving forward. He's trying to create some cap space because I think there was probably a deal somewhere July 1 that he was going to need that cap space, right? So he's just doing and Jacob Trouba is a no trade, no move. and he is obviously his wife is a professional also. She had a year left on a program in one of the New York City hospitals, and she had to fulfill that. And he just said, "Well, you can trade me, but I'm not going to go." So I just think it's if you get locked in the past as to how things were and whether a guy has the right or a woman has the right or the manager has the right or who. I'm telling you, I think you're fighting a fruitless battle. I just think on both fronts. Now, again, the thing that complicates the issue is the cesspool that social media is.
Right.
And that's just not fair. That's not fair. It's not fair if Chris Drury gets beat up. It's not fair if Jacob Trouba gets beat up. The reality is it's a big business. They are all businessmen. They all have their innate biases as to how they want their lives to look. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And so the players probably block it out. And in weird ways, Dave, you played in rooms. There's small little things that can motivate and unify a room even more. And that might be one. If it's a player that's really liked by his teammates, they'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Because, I was talking to Bill Armstrong the other day, and he goes like, as a GM,
Right.
I don't really talk to my players a whole bunch. Right. So, the coaches and the players are unified, but the players don't necessarily always have to sing Kumbaya with their general manager.
No. I think the general manager has to keep his professional distance. There are some, Glenn Sather was a master, an absolute master. He's an old horse trader, right? Yeah. Master at commanding respect and people knew his boss. Chris Drury, John Davidson, just a tremendous guy. Chris is a little more aloof. But every bit in an organization where he has to, when he's asked what's going on, he has to know, and he will know.
All right.
So I just think it's personalities, and that's the thing. Really, it's just now it's a business. They are businessmen. A lot of them are mini conglomerates, and the cap situation being what it is, different. It's just not just plain when it comes to just playing hockey. Thankfully, when they drop the puck, that's what it is. But there's an awful lot that goes on behind the scenes that those people people who do use social media seem to think they have all the answers. And yet it's just until you're in the room, you never know what's going on.
Alexis Lafreniere, some would say it's a breakout party for him in the postseason.
Yeah.
And it's a small sample size, but man, at the biggest time of the year, he was unbelievable for the Rangers. And I've always argued that people want to write guys off way too quickly. Young players, I would argue, I wouldn't put many teenagers in the NHL. There's the odd McDavid and Crosby, but there's very few who can, it's not a teenager league. And so but when you're a number one pick, unfortunately, sometimes you got to be a teenager in the league for whatever reason. But you look at him and you see him every game, Dave. Is this guy poised to kind of take what he did in the playoffs and become even a bigger force in the regular season now?
Well, hey, listen, this was not just a playoff. This was not a playoff burst. He was tremendous all season long. He got put on the right side. There was some hesitancy with Gerard Gallant and his staff to put him over there. Now, again, he's playing with Vinny Trocheck and Kemi Panarin. Good players, but you've got to be a good player to play with them also. And I just think and you know what, when you look at Florida, right, two of the big studs on Florida were Sam Reinhart and Sam Bennett. 27, 28, 29. Monster years. Reinhart was second overall. Bennett was fourth overall.
Yep.
The NHL is littered with, I wouldn't say littered with top players that just don't quite hit the hype, but a lot of them become good players, and some just take a little longer. And Lafreniere, I think what happened is last year, it's a little bit like JT Miller. JT Miller, when he was here, he was a young guy. He's an American guy, a little bit arrogant. Thought he had, he's going to run the league, and took him a while to realize that summertime is really important. And I cry to this day watching him play for Vancouver. And he's an absolute stud. And I think the same thing, it's not that I think last summer, Alexis, he went back to Quebec, got himself out of the beer league softball, into working out, into kind of recognizing now I've got to be a pro. And it just takes time. And he's going to be a good one. And that's one of the issues moving forward, right? Is that he and Keandre Miller are up next year.
Yeah.
Durkin's up next year. Hence, the situation with Jake's contract.
Yeah.
So there are a number of things there that, but they'll figure out a way. They're all good things. They're good players. And, this is a Ranger team that I thought Florida, when I saw them in January, when the Rangers were there over New Year's, I thought they were the best team in the league then. And, the Rangers battled, but just aren't quite there yet. But it would be nice to keep this group together and see what they can do moving forward.
Dave, one last one for you. The Ryan Lindgren contract, 1 year now, you take him right to UFA. You don't see that very often. Did that surprise you a little bit?
It did surprise me. But the thing is, here's the thing, his style, and this is what I think. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the Rangers' thought process. He is banged up. You know what? The way he plays is a heart and soul guy and all those really good things, right?
Yeah.
Now and again, so the price to that, the Rangers might be, and honestly, that's an impression from the outside. I have no inside knowledge on that but I could see that being part of the process. The other side, the downside of thinking that way is he's free to walk after a year.
Yeah.
So, you're going to pay him. He doubled, I think, what did he go from 3 to 4.5 or something like that?
Yeah.
So he got a nice little bump. So it's all the game, right? What's it going to cost? Is this somebody? Now, the left side, they're not quite as deep in the left side as they are on the right side. So it'll be interesting to see how this ultimately plays out, whether it will cost them even more money to keep him or whether he walks. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, no, next summer is a huge offseason for the Rangers. And so I can see
that's right. Because now Lindgren's in the loop, right? Yeah, as UFA.
Yeah, so
it's all good. It makes for good to sit around and have a beer and talk about it all kind of summers. So
yeah.
Good.
Dave, great stuff, man. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the Olympics, and we'll talk to you throughout the season.
Will do. Thanks an awful lot. It's always a pleasure talking hockey in the Great White North. Have a good one.
You too, Dave. Dave Maloney, one of the most genuinely nicest guys around. So he, Strutty, when he was in New York, still raves about how Dave Maloney, who was a really good player, played a long time, and just, respects the game, but really nice guy. Did you get a sense maybe Bob? Next time we have Bobby Orr on the show, we're going to have to ask him about his ping pong skills. Maybe they weren't elite Norris Trophy level, which is fine. We'll come back. We got 5 questions and more on a very busy Thursday edition of the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where it is the Daily Grand, your chance to win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Go to PlayAlberta.ca and get your tickets for the Daily Grand.
Mr. Rooter builds a portfolio.
Now, Mr. Rooter, I suggest we invest heavily in the S&P.
What's that? Sewers and plumbing? I agree.
No, actually...
And what do you think of precious metals?
Yes, gold is a very...
Don't buy copper. You see, copper pipes have widely been replaced by polyethylene.
Sure. Also, Bitcoin...
Bitcoin? I snake enough of those out of toilets on my own, thank you very much.
For a plumber with good dividends, call Mr. Rooter.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
It's the Bricks 53rd birthday bash, and you're invited to join us. We're kicking off the celebration with fabulous 5-day deals from Thursday to Monday. Take up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. And all week long, check out amazing deals in every department, like up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture. Buy more, save more. Up to $300 off select major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
CWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
Well, no one told me about her, the way she lied. Well, no one told me about her, how many people cried. But it's too late to say I'm sorry. How would I know? Why should I care? Please don't bother trying to find her. She's not there. Let me tell you about the way she looked, the way she had tear the color of my hair.
4:48. Welcome back, man. This show is flying through. We got a lot of texts, 833-401-1440. We were asking earlier about athletes with injuries. Obviously, Bo Jackson would be at the top list of a great athlete who injuries really ruined their career. Him basically pulling his own hip out of its socket when he was rushing as a member of the Oakland Raiders. You watch that, and for the younger generation who had never seen Bo Jackson, I highly recommend you watch that. His 30 for 30 cons. I know you're a big football guy, and Bo Jackson was, I think, a little bit before your time. But when you watch that one, you're probably like, who is this guy?
Yeah, he was a bit of a freak, not just the football, but the baseball career as well. Interesting. I do believe Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards than he does, but that's neither here nor there. Great career. Without injury, would have been a wrecking ball.
He was so athletic. Like, you just watch the highlights of like throwing guys out from the warning track.
Yeah.
In baseball, the time he ran up the wall when he cut, and the fact that he was like, I don't lift weights when he went to college. It's like, yeah, I'll come here, but I don't lift weights. He had his own workout regime, which just shows you that, weights are good. Don't get me wrong. Now, maybe he was just the ultra gifted guy, but there are ways that if you want to work out and get really strong, because trust me, weights weren't around for decades and people were pretty fast, pretty strong. And that guy was an absolute tank. Oh, so strong. And not only, but the unique blend of power and strength. He was fast, but he could run you over at the same time. There's not many guys who do that. I think there's some big guys that'll run you over, like Jerome Bettis, the bus. He wasn't that quick. He was okay, but he wasn't like burner speed like Bo Jackson. Like Bo Jackson could fly. Oh my goodness.
They had him, and I don't know if this is real, but 4.13 at 230 pounds.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's unfair. That's cheat code.
Yeah. So. Hey, Gregor, what about Derek Rose? Yeah. Not no. I'm not the biggest Derek Rose fan. Not the allegations of the gang rape and stuff, and you read all that. That was not good. Sorry. Not good. 450. Let's get to 5 questions. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, where the big sale is on right now at The Brick this weekend. Hey, you're getting to the Olympics and you're like, man, I'm into them already, but the sofa's just not holding up. I need an upgrade. You got to change it. Well, get in right now. Sofas and sectionals, $840 off at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason. No, lots of Olympics left, so there's lots of answers here you could go with. But if not Summer McIntosh, is there anyone you see being the flag bearer for the closing ceremonies for Canada?
Come on. She's got 2 golds and a silver. It's impossible. And, well, first of all, there's lots of athletes left to see. Like, what if Andre DeGrasse wins 2 medals? Now, he's already been so he's not going to do it anyway. But, yeah, I don't see how, unless she's like, I don't want to do it, which, and is she still here? I think that's the other thing. Like, I think her last event is Saturday or Sunday. Now, after listening to Lorianne, Summer, it might be best for her to stick around, enjoy it, and stay over there, because when she comes back to Canada, her life will change.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Krista Taguchi winning gold in judo would be cool. So if I have to go away from Summer McIntosh, I just think is the obvious choice. Or you know what? Someone from the rugby 7th team would be cool, just because of the upsets that they had and what they did was very cool. But I'm still hoping there's someone else in the track and field events that can, make it a bit of a conversation at least. Summer McIntosh, the favorite. We're going to be getting into the track and field events tomorrow at the Olympics over in France. Any event or athlete you're looking forward to seeing the most?
Oh, dude, Marco Arop, you kidding me? Right here from Edmonton, 800 meter. All day, I'll take him and Cameron Rogers to see if she can. She just won the World Championships in hammer throw, so I'll go with those 2.
Like it, DeGrasse for sure. As a Canadian, non-Canadian, Sha'Carri Richardson. I want to see what she does on the women's side after not being able to participate in the last Olympic Games due to the failed drug test with the marijuana. I want to see what happens if she can get a little redemption for her story here. Getting into the track and field. Question number 3 for you. We discussed the Rangers, Dave Maloney. Are they a real cup threat in your eyes?
Well, you look at their team. They lost to Florida. They were right there. They haven't lost many key pieces. I think Lafreniere, can he get even better? I think he can. So yeah, I think when the regular season begins, I think there's a lot of people that have the Rangers winning their division. Right, so now you're thinking they'll have home ice advantage for at least 2 rounds. So yeah, I think the Rangers are a definite threat.
I'm with you. Obviously, a President's Trophy winner this year. Very good season. Just getting more experience, and I think they're going to come back hungry. So I'm with you. Won't be easy. There's some tough teams out east, but I think that they are a legit Stanley Cup threat going into this season. Question number 4. Bears, Texans meeting tonight. No Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears. But I'm just going to ask you big picture. Who do you think, if not Caleb Williams, or you can go with Caleb Williams too, would be the biggest threat for the offensive rookie of the year this season?
It's a good question. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't have a lot of faith in the Bears, so I could be wrong. But I'm going to go. Ooh. How about Marvin Harrison Jr., Arizona?
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I'll take an outside shot on Jonathan Brooks. Was the first back taken to the Carolina Panthers. Obviously, Chuba Hubbard's going to try to fend him off a little bit, but yeah, if I'm going away from Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison's the best bet. Probably is the best quarterback situation. With all due respect to Struddy's Giants,
Well, what about Xavier Worthy though? He might be better as a rookie.
You see him trying to beat press coverage yesterday.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna. Yeah, he's not strong enough yet.
You don't see guys go horizontal too often. He got rocked, but I think he's going to be a very good player, make some big plays. But I'll go running back and go with a kid out of Carolina. My final question for you today was on this day in 1996, author George R.R. Martin published Game of Thrones, the first in his series, A Song of Fire and Ice. So we've probably discussed it. I don't love reading. I haven't read the books, but instead I'll ask you, what is your favorite episode or scene from the hit HBO show Game of Thrones?
Oh, that's a good question. Like, there's so many great scenes, though, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good question. It's hard for me. It's like saying which is my favorite Seinfeld episode. Like, it's hard because there's so many iconic scenes. The dinner. I might
talking Red Wedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh. What about the one the dogs kill? What's his name? God, that was a good one too.
Ramsey Bolton.
Yeah. Oh. But you know what? Just because he was such a good villain when Joffrey dies.
Good scene.
Yeah.
The whole episode with Ramsey and Jon Snow and the battle was great. I liked the Battle of Winterfell.
Oh yeah, that was good.
I know a lot of people said it was too dark during the episode and you couldn't really tell, but I liked how they brought all the characters together. It would have been a cool way to end the series, perhaps in a different universe. But the ending, the way they get the job done was one of the most epic moments of the series. So yeah, I'll take that one.
Yeah, no, it's nothing wrong with that either. Man, I actually might have to watch that again. Like if there's a series, because there was the thing I loved about Game of Thrones, because I'm watching House of Dragon right now, and the problem with House and Game of Thrones set the bar high, but they were always introducing new characters. House of Dragon, not so much. And so I don't know, like I don't love right now kind of the direction they're going with Damon. It's kind of annoying me. I'm like, enough already. So I never really had that. Like Game of Thrones, I know people got mad because they would kill off so many characters at times, but it just kept it fresh. You're like, oh my God, like maybe I don't want to get too attached to this character. Hey, they had a shorter lifespan back then, and they lived through it in the show. God, that was such a great. I seriously, I might have to watch again from the start. But, I think I could do it.
I almost started season 2 of House of the Dragon last night.
Oh yeah.
And then I said, you know what? No, I want to do Shoresy season 3 first.
Oh yeah. Well, that's shorter. It's easier. It's quicker.
Work my way up to it. I'd have to watch a recap of season 1, I think, but
of House of Dragon?
House of the Dragon. Yeah.
100%. You know what? 100%. I spent like the first few episodes saying, okay, who's who again?
Yeah.
Didn't love it, but that's probably my own bad. So yeah, I like it I like it about. So hey guys, Earl Campbell could run by you and over you as well. Good one. Not like Bo, but yes, pretty good. Remember, who would be the closest to that? Blake Marshall. Remember Blake Marshall for the green and gold?
No.
The fullback for the Esks? You don't remember him? Oh my God, he was an absolute tank. Now he had decent speed, but he obviously didn't have Bo Jackson speed. But man, he just used to run over a guy. Like 1 year, I want to look it up how many touchdowns he had. God, he had like 15 plus, I think. It's just an absolute freight train in short yardage. But then he started to get some big runs too. It was exciting.
Greg Marshall's brother.
Yes.
Do you remember Ronald Williams, I believe?
Dude.
Just before John Avery came?
So Ron Williams, so back when I first started my show, we used to be at 930 CJCA. And the studio was just off of White Mud and 99. There's about like 96th Street, give or take. And so I was doing my show there from 11 p.m. till 1 a.m. And Blue Sky Limos was a big sponsor of ours at the time. And so they would pick up the guys and they would come to my show on Tuesday nights at 11 o'clock to do the Gridiron Report 1 hour in studio. And I remember Ron Williams coming in, and Ron had he was big into marijuana then when it wasn't legal, right? So he would have loved it now. And man, he was one of the most, and because he had a real reputation of being a fiery guy at people and stuff. And Ron, when we sat down in studio, he was one of my favorite guests I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah, he was great.
I loved watching him.
Yeah, he was skilled for sure. But he was pretty vulnerable. It's like when we had Scott Robinson on. So a few years later, we had Scotty Robinson on the show. Maybe the best looking player the Elks have ever had. You go back and look at it. Yeah, the guy was a good looking dude, ripped, right? And so we were on the show, and back then we were doing the show at the Elephant Castle on White Ave at 9:00. And so he comes down to do the show. We're talking, everything's great. And all of a sudden he just kind of starts breaking down and admits on the show that his girlfriend had just dumped him. It was just like, oh my God, we're going to have Maury Povich here all of a sudden? It was amazing. And it was just like he needed to get off his chest. He was almost like in tears. I just remember our people were listening. They're just like, oh my goodness, is he okay? So but he was a good looking dude. And I remember we were getting emails from lots of the female listeners. Trust me, it won't be hard for him to find a new girlfriend. And they're like, I volunteer. So, hey, you know what? It's the old, what's the best way to get over a guy? They would say, a girl would say, what's the best way to get over a girl? Get under another. So, not for you kids out there, though. Not for you kids. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update. Brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all winter long at legacyheating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Another good day in the pool for Canadian swimmer Summer McIntosh. She won her second Olympic gold medal in Paris in the women's 200-meter butterfly. She also took part in the 4x200 freestyle relay, where Canada finished fourth. Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime team defeated Norway's Kasper Ruud in the quarterfinals of the men's tennis singles. The 23-year-old now guaranteed to compete for medals in both the men's singles and mixed doubles, where he'll go for the bronze. The Canadian women's basketball team fell 70-65 to Australia in group play, falling to 0-2 in the tournament. They'll now need a victory against Nigeria on Sunday, plus some other results to go their way. The 3x3 team, featuring the Blue Sisters, defeated France by a score of 13-9. From the NHL, the Oilers announcing that they'll induct retired players Craig McTavish and Randy Gregg into the Oilers Hall of Fame on October 25th when they host the Pittsburgh Penguins in the major leagues today. Just 5 games, 2 underway right now. Guardians lead the Orioles 2-1 in the second. Also in the second, the Royals up on the Tigers 3-0. Later, Braves, Marlins, Cubs, Cards, and the Rockies in Anaheim. From the CFL, Week 9 gets going tonight with the Bombers hosting the Lions. That'll start at 6:30. And the NFL's preseason kicks off with the Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio, as the Bears take on the Texans. And the Riverhawks, they'll wrap up their series in Victoria tonight. First pitch set for just after 8 o'clock. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It seems the price of everything is redonkulous. So at Wolf GMC Buick, we're trying to make it easy on your wallet. We have a huge selection of GMCs with finance rates starting at 0%. Wait, did I just say 0%? I did. And why am I talking to myself? Oh boy. The prices are fantastic, selection top notch, and the vehicles, well, you already know that they're stellar. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now, just off the Anthony Henday. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Are you an expert in flat roofing or sheet metal fabrication and installation? Albatross Roofing and Construction wants to hire you. Candidates must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy excellent wages, benefits, and career progression. Submit your application at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Hey Edmonton, it's Jordan Baker, coach and general manager of the Edmonton Stingers. Come cheer us on at our home playoff game this Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Edmonton Expo Center. It's our last game here in Edmonton this season, so come experience the thrill of Stingers basketball. Edmonton's most affordable, family-friendly excitement. Tickets start at just $20 and parking is free. Plus, enjoy our $5 food and drink menu. Get your seats online at thestingers.ca or Ticketmaster.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Feel free. When I talk with you, we move like the sea. You're all I want to know. I feel free. I feel free. I feel free.
Just after 5 o'clock, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. Cons, are you happen to watch, they're showing a rowing event, and I don't know if that was a penalty or somebody's just way behind, but it's interesting to see one of the boats, not even in the race right now, but Canada looking good right now. So we'll see what happens. Give you the update. Obviously, this is not live because it's midnight in London, Paris, France right now. And tomorrow, though, more chances for medals. Canada gets another gold if you're just joining us today. And the summer of summer. Like the summer of George was one thing, but the summer of summer, it's taking it to a whole new level. And hey, Play Alberta, it was like they predicted this because the promo code for this summer is summer at playalberta.ca. It's like they knew. I wonder what the line was on McIntosh winning 2 gold medals. Ooh, might have had to try it. 833-401-1440. You can always text us in our eWell inbox. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction. Now, we were talking rowing. You know, the person, there's guy at the front maybe doesn't get all the credit, but is very important. Well, that's what GS Construction is. They're underground. You don't even know how important they are because you don't see it. But trust me, it's important. GS Construction, as Mark Spector joins us once again. And Spec, it's a story that you know what? Sometimes you're like, okay, we're done talking about the story. But the Summer Macintosh, it just keeps adding chapters to the story that makes you really want to watch.
Summer breeze, Jason, rolling through the jasmine of my mind. Oh man, she's a headline just waiting to happen with that name. And just killing it. Like not just winning, but she won by so much in the IM, and now the race she's supposed to win. Sometimes that's a hard one because everyone says, "Oh, you're supposed to win this one." Wins that one. What a producer! What a guts of steel for a 17-year-old. I mean, oh my goodness, not even a legal adult yet, and she's got this much, game. It's incredible.
No, it is. Like it's exciting to watch. Like I was downstairs in my office prepping for the show. My wife yells down, "Summer's on," and I'm just like, "What is going on?" Like, you know what? She's not a huge sports fan, but it's just I think people get caught up in it, and you want to watch it, and it's great. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got to turn it on," and away we go. And so you're right. Like it's not. There's so much pressure, but some people say, you know what? At that moment, I don't feel pressured. Maybe they don't. They're just excited to be there. And either way, though, it's what an amazing moment. Like it's funny watching her parents. Now, her mom was a swimmer, right? She was swam the exact same race in the Olympics many years ago. But you watch the reaction from mom and dad after the race. Like dad just looks like oh my God, he's so nervous. And I get it. Every parent's going to be different sometimes. But an individual sport like that, where it's such a quick race, man, it's as a parent, I can imagine the range of emotions, excitement to nervousness of, oh my God, like this is crazy. And then pride and everything else that goes into it. It's kind of fun to watch.
Well, try watching your kid play just in a normal game, like at the regular levels that all our kids played at. Never mind in a situation like that. Like, and then, sure, here's the parents freaking out, or at least the dad. Carter Hart's dad barely ever saw him play, right?
Yeah.
He's barely seen him play. Carter Hart talks about how his dad can't stay in his seat. He goes in the concourse, he walks around. He said he's only been to Philly like a couple times when he was playing there. Anyway, some parents just can't handle it, man.
Yeah.
And, the mother was an elite level Olympian. I'm sure she's a little better at it, but what do players always say? They'd rather play than and try to affect the game than be sitting in a press box and have no effect on it whatsoever. That's the most frustrating time. So I couldn't imagine watching my child be in that situation. Who knows how you'd react?
Well, yeah, you would hope that maybe with experience of seeing her in big races, it gets better, but like at least being like a good parent, you know what I mean? So that's like the thing there is like the great part about swimming is like there's no one yelling at the officials. There's it's either you win or you lose. It's straightforward. That's what's kind of good about it, right? Like in that sense, it's just like you're just nervous, but there's really no point to get angry.
No, I suppose there's probably crazy swimming parents, just the way there's crazy hockey parents and crazy baseball parents. But yes, I hear you. There's no ref to scream at, so that's good. You pretty much just cheering for your kid. And anyway, what a great story. I saw an interview with them. They seem like the regular Canadian family coming out of Ontario, just like the people down the street. And what a fun story. I heard your quiz question, and I certainly can't see anyone else being the flag bearer here.
No.
It's hard to think of anyone unless this soccer team keeps going. Maybe someone like Vanessa Gilles springs to mind. But and the Olympics aren't over yet. But if anyone's going to steal that job from Summer Macintosh, they better get on their horse.
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? It would be great if someone else gave her a run for her money. That means then you got another Canadian dominating, which would be fantastic. Like, who knew that Canada, Spec, is suddenly the dominant country in hammer throw? Because we have the reigning men's and women's world champions right now. So you know what? Like, that's outstanding. Like, that's a sport that, like, we didn't have hammer throw when I was in school. It was not even a thing. And when I watch it, and like, it's quick, but it's explosive, and there's power and technique and everything else, and you know, it's just a unique sport that I kind of like watching. Like, it's quick to watch because it's so fast, right? It's not like you got to be pot committed for an extended period of time to watch. Like soccer, you got to be pretty pot committed to the whole thing. Hammer throw, I'm like, all right, here we go. 1, 2, I can watch 20 people go in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know, it's fabulous. It's one of those things. I've talked about this before when we had the 2001 World Track and Fields. The Edmonton Journal made me their track guy, and I was a track writer for like 4 years and 2 Olympics and all kinds of stuff. So I saw lots of track that no normal Canadian sports writer would see. And one of the fascinating events is hammer throw, right? The footwork. Like, first of all, they're big people. You know, they're not small, delicate, agile people doing this, but the footwork in a successful hammer throw is unbelievable, right? Watch it in slow-mo. It's crazy, adept and fast and agile. And, you know, the angle at which you let go, you'll notice, anyone who's watching this, you'll notice they really close up the screens for hammer.
Yeah.
Because, you know, an eighth or a 16th of a second can be like the difference between letting it go and it goes down the middle and letting it go and it goes into the stands, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about basically a shot put at the end of a wire, and sometimes those wires break and mid-throw, and that ball just goes flying off wherever. It is a weird and crazy sport, and to watch people that are really good at it from up close, it's absolutely fascinating, Jason. That's one of those things in track and field that if you'd have told me that you'd think hammer throw was as cool as I think it is, I'd have told you you're crazy, man. But it is a weird and cool sport.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the meme of the hammer throw guy letting it go and it hits the official. Like, I'm like, how did it not just squash the twig and berries? But that's the one I've seen a few times. I'm like, oh my goodness.
And I've seen it a million times too. And I always think to myself, well, that's got to be some amateur show because there's no screen.
Yeah.
If you watch this thing in the Olympics, they're tight. That screen's tight because exactly that. Like, that thing will kill you if it hits you in the head. No one wants to get hit with a hammer, right? That's a pretty obvious statement. But you'll see that they really cut that lane down because one of those things goes in the stands and, like, forget it, pal.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like the javelin every now. You've seen some of the markers in javelin take one in the chest. And you're just like, oh my God. Like, and I remember watching him and he just is like, oh yeah, no big deal. Just kind of like standing there, javelin doesn't even go down. And you're just like, what is happening here? So,
well, they have killed people. The javelins have killed people. I've known that to happen.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about javelin is it's actually better to throw into a slight breeze. It goes further. It's like it rides on top of the wind. You'd rather have the wind slightly in your face throwing a javelin than all at your back.
Because it cuts through the wind better?
I guess it rides on top of a wind coming at you. It holds the javelin up in the air longer. That's what I was told by an accomplished track person. I've never thrown a javelin, so you can call me on it if you want. But that's what a smart guy told me one time.
All right. Now, Spec, today the Edmonton Oilers Hall of Fame committee announces that Randy Gregg, 5-time Stanley Cup champion, of course, doctor, but he's in for his accomplishments with the Edmonton Oilers. One of only 7 members to win all 5 Stanley Cups. He was there. He was also a member of the Canada Cup 1984 team. And he goes in, and also Craig McTavish, 3-time Stanley Cup champ, was a head coach, took him to the Stanley Cup in 2006, general manager, and he's going in.
Yeah, and you know what, here's Randy, an Edmonton guy, right? Played ball for I spent a year with the Edmonton Tigers when I was 17. He was still playing for them, and he could hit a baseball a country mile.
Yeah.
Young Randy Gregg back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a big guy. I remember him playing for the Golden Bears. Fantastic athlete. Edmonton all the way. Like, I would say to you, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, is there another member or anyone close to those glory days Oilers that was as deep in all Edmonton all the time as Randy Gregg? I'm not sure there was.
Yeah, maybe Kevin Lowe, but Randy grew up here, right? But Lowe's definitely adopted it. Yeah.
Randy grew up here and played his college hockey here and everything. So anyhow, awesome. Such a pillar of the community. His brother Gary, right? Greg's distributing. You know, Gary's a massively huge employer and generous donator, and oh my God, Gary, or I should say Randy and his son are running those Riverhawks, which are totally awesome. Everyone's enjoying those guys all summer. And you know what I would say? I think it needs to be said, Jay. We had a lot of talk about Stan Bowman and if he deserves a second chance and, what are the Oilers doing and blah, blah, blah. Well, they're putting Craig McTavish on their wall of honor, and he got a second chance in this town once, and I don't think anyone's regretting that one bit. Craig has turned out to be another guy, a huge guy in our community, obviously a hell of a player. He was a real good coach behind the Oilers bench, took him to a cup. I defy you to find someone who thinks it was a bad idea to bring Craig McTavish to Edmonton back in, I believe it was 1985. He's been nothing but awesome in this city since the day he showed up.
Yeah, so they will go in. That's going to be on October 25th. It's a Friday night. The Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby, will be in town for that game.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So also, if McDavid is on a real heater, he could score his 1,000th point that night.
Sounds like something he'd do.
He needs 18 points to get to 1,000. Now that would be game 8. So obviously, you know what? Even for McDavid, pretty high. But I've seen him go on heaters before. So 18 points in 8 games. Wow, it's still pretty high. It's over 2 points a game. So,
it is.
Yeah. But you never. I don't rule out anything for McDavid from what we've seen the past few years, and you never know. So it might be just a little extra juice for people to who are lucky enough to get to go to the game, because those type of games always get a pretty good attendance in the crowd. So well deserved.
I don't know.
Well deserved. Go ahead.
Sorry, Jay. I want to say too, of all the years for McDavid to have a hot start, I will say to you that the leadership group on this team will make absolutely sure they don't have a start this year like they had last year. So if there's one guy who's going to have a good start this season, I'll bet you 97 is that guy. So 18-8, I certainly would never rule that out, my friend.
Yeah, no, you never know. It's fair. Yeah, it's hard to say, I'm not sure if McDavid can do it. If there's one guy who can get on a real heater, most people would say it's Connor McDavid. So no question.
Buddy, the way to look dumb, start a sentence with, I don't think McDavid can. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first part about saying something stupid. So I learned that a long time ago.
One last one for you, Spec. As we Trey Ford, we had him on the show yesterday after you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the whole interview or not, but
I heard half of it.
His comment about Chris Jones, and he's like, well, I didn't know what Chris Jones thought of me as a player. And I'm like, what? Like, to me, that was and he didn't say it like vindictively or anything. It was just like, I don't really know how he viewed me as a player. And that to me, I found rather fascinating when we look at, part of being a head coach. And Chris Jones, he never hid behind the fact that, he was more of a defensive guy than an offensive guy. And that's fine. That's what he was. But you got to respect it enough that the players should know how the coach views them.
Especially that player.
Yeah.
Right. Especially that player. This guy isn't your ninth offensive lineman here, right? He's not like a backup Canadian safety. This guy's your quarterback. He's won more games in this uniform than any other quarterback, I believe, in the last 3 years. He's a special talent. We're all trying to figure out how special he is, how good can he be, and all that stuff. But it's not like Chris Jones, the roster that he built as general manager, had him surrounded with a whole bunch of Trey Fords at all the different positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a whole bunch of guys with Trey Ford's pedigree, Trey Ford's excitement level, Trey Ford's future, Trey Ford's pedigree. They don't have that at barely any other position. So for the head coach and general manager to have not more properly managed that asset tells you all you need to know about Chris Jones, right? He was, most way a fraud in this town, and he left the way he came in. He joined a team that was no good, and he left a team that was no good.
Yeah, arguably worse. So we'll see.
Probably worse.
Spec, have yourself a great day. We'll chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report. You're listening to Jason. construction. We'll let you hear that comment from Ford when we return. Also, your thoughts. Got a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox. Your partner in power, supplying the city of Champions and all of Alberta with great electrical gear since 1976. EWEL.ca. When we return, we'll update you today at the Olympics. Also, more on the Oilers Hall of Fame and some fun little numbers to crunch for you. Next, Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, as well as sports1440.ca.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
It's the Bricks 53rd birthday bash, and you're invited to join us. We're kicking off the celebration with fabulous 5-day deals. From Thursday to Monday, take up to $920 off sofas and sectionals. And all week long, check out amazing deals in every department, like up to 25% off dining and bedroom furniture, and buy more, save more, up to $300 off select major appliances. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Buying a vehicle at Sherwood Honda comes with 0% intimidation. Seriously, they want you to feel comfortable. So ask anything. There are no dumb questions. How does this car compare to that truck? Ask it. Could the payment be this much instead? Feel free to ask. At Sherwood Honda, you can ask anything without fear of judgment. Like, do you folks have a jingle? Okay, a few dumb questions. And if you have questions about car buying, it sure would make sense to ask Sherwood Honda.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is your supplier of maximum comfort, bringing you the cool AC you need. You just have to
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
for comfort at night when the hot air suffocates you.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
For comfort in your wallet with no payments or interest for 1 year.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
You deserve comfort. Cool off today with AC from Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I'm ready to get up and do my thing. I want to get into it, man, you know. Like a sex machine, man. Moving, doing it, you know. Can I count it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Move Water. Check your sump pumps. No one likes a wet basement, and fellow farmers, Move Water offers water conditioning for all types of water. Stay on top of your water at movewater.ca, formerly Stowell Pumps.
Machine. Get on up.
$5.28. Oh, James Brown. Do you ever see the James Brown when Eddie Murphy, James Brown was on stage performing, and he asked Eddie Murphy, he goes, I hear you do a good James Brown. And so Eddie Murphy comes up on stage and then proceeds to do a James Brown impersonation. Not just talking, but then starts dancing. And James Brown goes crazy, loves it. Eddie was a pretty talented, or is a pretty talented dude, no question. So great times. That's a guy, Eddie Murphy, still really fun. Now, have any of you seen the new Beverly Hills Cop cons? Did you ever watch the original with Axel Foley?
I have seen the original.
Have you seen the new one that's out now?
I didn't even know that there was a new one out.
What? Oh, yes, buddy. Beverly Hills Cop.
About a month.
Axel F is what it is.
Did you see it?
I have not. So I'm curious. And Declan's chiming in the background that he liked it. So Norm's saying I did. It was odd. Well, odd in what way, Norm? It's hard. Like that's a hard one to redo. Like this many years later. Right? Does he still have the same Axel Foley laugh? That was a classic. Right? Judge Reinhold was great in that show. So I saw that he's still in it, but I'm curious. Anybody else? Give me out of a 1 to 10, how do you rank it? 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Hey, Gregor, yesterday you mentioned Draisaitl's contract, and we're talking about how he's really dominated the others. I missed some of the numbers. Can you repeat them? I want to have them as ammunition for my buddies who's a huge Maple Leafs fan. Yeah, well, I guess you were talking about, so Draisaitl, of course, has been the second highest scoring player in the last 7 years. So first 7 years of his deal. The only guy who scored more points than him, Connor McDavid. So if you look at Draisaitl and where he's been, like if you want to talk about a value contract, so the first year of his deal in 2018, when the first year kicked in, he was the 10th highest paid player in the league. Then the next year is 15th, then 24th, 28th, 31st, 39th. He was 43rd last year. And this coming season, he'll be tied for 47th with Pierre-Luc Dubois, Philippe Forsberg, Miguel Sergachev, Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck, Bo Horvat, Mika Zibanejad. That's who he's. So it's been more than a value deal for the Edmonton Oilers for a long time, right? He has, and that doesn't include what he's done in the postseason, because his postseason numbers are exceptional. But if you just look at, I'm saying, hey, Draisaitl's earned a significant raise. Right now, the highest paid player in the NHL in AAV is Matthews at 13.25. You have Nathan McKinnon at 12.6, and then you have Connor McDavid at 12.5. So Leon Draisaitl could easily look and say, well, look what Matthews just signed for. I've outscored him in points. Matthews has a few more goals. Draisaitl's got the second most goals, but he has more points. So, Matthews is 5th in points. Draisaitl is 2nd in points with 538, and Matthews is then he's 5th at 400, and I can't remember what the number is off the top of my head. 443, I think it is. 443. So, and people will say, so I was talking about the curve. So when McKinnon signed his $12.6 million deal, he had been on a bargain deal, so he goes to 12.6. And he's been a really highly productive player, right? 3rd highest scoring guy. So you can make the argument he's worth it. Matthews comes in. Now, if we look at timeline, it was the summer of 2022 when McKinnon signed his extension, which didn't kick in until next season, right? Last year. But either way, he signed it in the in the fall of 2022. Then Matthews signed a year later, and he went up to 13.25, and everyone's like, well, yeah, okay, that's normal. However, at the exact midway point, so you had McKinnon in the fall of 2022, signed for 12.6. Then you had Pasternak in the spring of 23, I think it was in February, he signs for 11.25. Now, he hasn't produced as much as McKinnon. Then Matthews signs 6 months later. Fun fact for you. In the last 5 years, Austin Matthews, 444 points. Pasternak, 443. But Pasternak's making $2 million less. Pasternak hasn't scored as much as McKinnon, so he was less than McKinnon. But Matthews jumped over. So I know everyone says, well, does Draisaitl has to get out, beat out Matthews? Sure. But you can make an argument that Matthews didn't really need to get 13.25, especially on a 4-year deal. But they did it. And so if Draisaitl wants, all the numbers will say he can earn 13.5, maybe 13.8. He could do it. But he might just say, well, I'll take 13. He might. We'll see. That's where I've always said the negotiations, like from 13, I don't think he's going to take less than 13. I really don't. And I could argue that he probably doesn't have to based on what he's done. Now, I know the next contract is what you think he's going to do. Could the last few years see a dip? Yeah, probably. But I don't see Leon Draisaitl suddenly falling off a cliff. I really don't. He's an elite player. So unless there's injuries, I don't see it. So there is the one injury. But then here's the difference. Because, even with Matthews, what's funny, even with him getting paid what he paid, his contract hasn't really limited Toronto. Did you know in the last 7 seasons, Boston has 6 100-point seasons. The only one they didn't was the 2021 shortened season, and they were on pace for it. So they would have went 7 for 7. Toronto has 5, second highest. Then there's a bunch of teams, including the Oilers, that are tied with 3. Edmonton, Minnesota, and Colorado, the 3 leaders in the West at 3 years each with 100 points in the last 7 seasons. So the Maple Leafs have actually been good, even with Matthews getting big money in the regular season. But here's the difference. When it comes playoff time, in the last 5 years, McDavid, 1.77 points per game. Draisaitl, 1.51. McKinnon, 1.28. Rantanen, 1.25. Kucherov, 1.25. Big numbers, big producers. In the regular season, Matthews' numbers decent. But in the playoffs, Marner, 0.9. Matthews, 0.89. Tavares, 0.63. Those guys all make 10.9 mil plus, basically 11. But their production is not close to the other guy's top production. And that's why Toronto, despite being a 100-point team in the regular season, does not win in the playoffs. People can look at a lot of other things. Oh, they don't have good enough defense. Oh, really? Their defense didn't give up any goals this year. They didn't score again. And that's the issue. So Draisaitl, not only is he productive in the regular season, he's actually more productive in the postseason on average than he has been in the regular season the last 5 years. Impressive. So when I look at Draisaitl's contract, there's lots of arguments to be made. He could be the highest paid guy until McDavid's contract kicks in. So if he wants it, he could get it. Now, how high does he want to go? I don't know. And I guess that's really Stan Bowman helping out. Do we get 13 or do we go up to like 13.8? It's probably going to fall in between there. Now, maybe he shocks us and takes less, but I'd be surprised. And then it comes down to the term. Like if you're the Oilers and he wants 8 years, great. Because if he gets 8 years, you know what happens? The Oilers will become the second team in the NHL. Because I'm assuming Brad Marchand, if he doesn't do it this year, will do it before Draisaitl the next season. They'll be the first team with 5 players in franchise history to score 1,000 points with their team. The Oilers, Connor McDavid's going to be number 4. He'll do it this year. He needs 18 points. Draisaitl needs 150 points. He'll do it in the next 2 seasons. Then he'd be the 5th. And you'd have the Oilers and the Boston Bruins. The Oilers have been around since 80. The Bruins have been around since the 1920s. Not bad. So that's the good news, Oilers fans, is that Draisaitl get 1,000 points and away you go. And then McDavid then, because if Draisaitl signs an extension, I think McDavid signed an extension, and then McDavid will have a very, very well, actually, I'd be stunned if he didn't break Wayne Gretzky's franchise record of 1,665 points. So, Oilers fans, you could be seeing some pretty cool numbers drop here in the next few seasons with those two guys. So enjoy it. But Draisaitl has proven that he can elevate his game in the postseason. I saw some, Draisaitl didn't score goals last fit. Yeah, he was banged up. It was obvious he was banged up. Everybody knows he was. But even then, so he still didn't score that, but he's still averaging 1.5 points per game in the playoffs the last 5 years, despite him, quote, with air hashtags, struggling down the stretch. So, not bad. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. It's the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Rule number 37. Oak Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
The basketball show can be heard right here on Sports 1440. This is Paul Sir. Every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon, we talk local, international, and professional basketball. Check it out this weekend on Sports 1440.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today. Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
DuraBuild Windows and Doors. Whether you're a home builder, commercial builder, architect, designer, or doing renovations, DuraBuild Windows and Doors is your answer, providing customized products for all your window and door requirements. DuraBuild has been serving the Edmonton community for over 30 years. DuraBuild Windows and Doors, locally owned and operated. Visit them at durabuildwindows.com.
Oh, yeah. Little Beverly Hills Cop theme song right there, baby. Everybody remembers it. Got a lot. Most people are giving it like a 7 out of 10, Cons, on the text line, 833-401-1440. Boys, it was 5 out of 10. Hard to redo the original. I think it was a 5-6 at best. Not just the same mojo from G-Man. Boys, I give it a solid 7. Not great, but entertaining still. Norm gives it a 7.5. Hey guys, no way Gretzky or McDavid breaks Gretzky's record. Rod. Now, I don't think you understood what I said. I said if Connor McDavid re-signs in Edmonton, he will break Wayne Gretzky's Oilers franchise record. Not all-time points. I'm talking all-time for the Edmonton Oilers. So McDavid is currently at 982 points. So he has 2 years remaining on his contract. So let's say automatically in those 2 years, he scores what? Let's just go low bar and I'll say 120 points each year. So that's 240. So now he's going to be at 1,222 points, which would put him second. He'd be at 1,222. If he signs an extension, I don't even care if it's only 4 years, then he needs 447 points in 4 seasons, an average of 112. It seemed very doable. Gretzky's record, of course, for the Oilers, 1,669 points. I think Draisaitl signs his extension. He locks himself in to be third all time because he's 200 points shy right now of Messier and Curry. He's got 850 points. Curry's got 1,043. Messier has 1,034. He'll pass both of them. Pretty impressive. Now, sure, he'll play more games, but that's irrelevant to me. But McDavid has a chance to he's going to pass both Messier and Curry this season in fewer games, by the way. And he will sit second in Oilers scoring. He needs 18 points to 1,000. And then so once he gets 62 points this year, he'll pass Jari Curry for second all time. He resigns. And if Draisaitl resigns, I think it's locked and loaded guarantee that Connor McDavid is resigning. I think they're like peas and carrots. They will go together. They will stay together. And away you go. And then you'll just like some franchise marks that, they'll be chasing, which will be fun to watch, right? Like Leon Draisaitl likely is going to pass Messier this year. He needs 45. Well, maybe not, but he needs 45 goals to pass Messier for fourth all time. Then next season he would pass Anderson because he'd need about 23 to do that. Catch Curry for sure in goals. Still 240 goals shy though of Gretzky for Draisaitl. Hard. McDavid, if he re-signs her, maybe he does it, but it would take like another. Well, that would be if he signs an 8-year extension. That means you got 10 more years of McDavid. Think about that. 10 more. You've already had 9. It's nuts for Oilers fans. You're pretty lucky, I would say. Pretty lucky. So, Nugent Hopkins, if you look on the charts, he'll have a good chance to become the 7th player with 300 goals as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. Passing Ryan Smith, who's currently 7th with 296. Nugent Hopkins would need 301 more points to get to 1,000 in his Oilers career. Plausible. If you think, but that's even 4 70-point seasons. Like Nugent Hopkins is, he's broke 70 once in his career. So, he's going to have to play at least, 5 more years and be like a 60-point player in 5 years. That itself is difficult enough. So he'll be hard pressed to get there. He might. We'll see. And then you got to go. There's a long ways down the list after that. There's no other current guys that are. I think the next active Oiler in scoring points all time is Darnell Nurse, who is currently 23rd all time amongst Oilers. Craig McTavish, by the way, who went into the inducted in the Oilers Hall of Fame today, is 18th in points all time amongst Edmonton Oilers players, and in goals, he is 15th, just behind Doug Waite. Hey guys, any idea why Bill Ranford didn't go in? Good question. I would say that I think it's inevitable that Bill Ranford will be inducted into the Oilers Hall of Fame. He won 2 cups, but he's a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. He is the all-time franchise leader in wins. All-time franchise leader in games played, second in wins. Grant Fuhr has a few more wins. Billy Ranford's played a few more games. I think there's a very good chance you'll see a battling Bill Ranford. Kind of the last real stand-up goaltender the Oilers ever had. When you think of the Billy Ranford picturesque save, it's Bill Ranford's, standing up, kicks out the pad. He loved the old toe kick save. That was one of his faves. That's kind of what I remember him by, no doubt. So I think he's in. Hey, Gregor, would a guy like Ales Hemsky ever get consideration? I thought he was the Oilers' best player at a time where they weren't very good. From Dallas. It's a very good point. Ales Hemsky, I found, was one of the most gifted Oilers who didn't, like Sean Horkoff worked his, off, and no problems with that from Horkoff, but Ales Hemsky was a very talented player who never really had an ultra-talented center to play with. I think that's fair. And I wonder what he could have done with that, because he was a dynamic player, so shifty, so quick, was not fearful of it. Like, he went into traffic all the time. I wish at times Hemsky during that era would have had a player who was better than him to challenge him to really maximize his skill set. And I know I remember when people used to say, Hemsky, because he was always one of the first guys to leave the ice all the time. I didn't see him working on any part of his game after practice. And if there was, I remember people say, "Oh, that doesn't matter." And I'm like, what? What do you mean it doesn't matter? It's the most foolish thing I've ever heard. I see all the best players in the league doing it. And I think if he would have had like a better player, now Ryan Smith, hey, that guy worked on it all the time, right? That's why he was probably one of the best. It was him and Holmstrom for years. They were the best tippers in the game, right? Then Joe Pavelski comes in and he was excellent at it. But you don't get excellent at it without doing it repeatedly. And I think Ales Hemsky, as talented as he was, could have been even more talented, but he would have needed, and that's why I think I always chuckle when people try to downplay, wow, he's playing with this guy and he's playing. Yeah. Elite players usually have other elite players to play with. Now, maybe playing with a guy like McDavid pulls you up a little bit, but McDavid doesn't take guys who are C players and all of a sudden they're A players. Like I see Draisaitl wouldn't be an 80-point player without McDavid. What? Are you on glue to make that statement? Like, first of all, there's nothing to back it up. Well, I looked at some of his minutes away from McDavid. What? How about you give him the top line wingers then? Like, it's such a ridiculously hollow and uninformed argument to say that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. So 833-401-1440. Now, Cons, do we have the Trey Ford clip? I want to get that for those who missed it yesterday. This is a really insightful answer from Trey Ford. It just kind of perked my eyes. And so here it was when I just asked him about, Chris Jones and him, and it just seemed like, Chris Jones from day one, he drafted and wanted to change positions. That, was there a disconnect in how they viewed him as a player?
Yeah, so that's actually a tough question, right? Because I couldn't tell you exactly how he viewed me because I don't know, right? That's all his opinion, right? And I have my opinion on who I am as a football player. He has his opinion on who I am as a football player. And I mean, that's really it. I can't really compare the two because I'm not 100% sure on his side. I mean, he maybe would have thought I was a great receiver or whatever. It's like, I don't know what his view on me was.
Think about that. I don't know what the view on me was. Crazy. You're the head coach of the team. What is happening? That starts with a D, as in dysfunction, from where I sit. We'll see what happens for the Elks. I'm looking forward to that game. We'll preview it tomorrow's show. Also, if you want to learn about coaching, I highly recommend tuning into the 3:00 hour tomorrow. Dave King, one of the best coaches our country's ever had. He will join us at 3:20, talk some coaching, writing, and more. On behalf of Declan Kruger, Connor Halley, I'm Jason Gregor. Enjoy your Thursday evening. We will chat with you tomorrow. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit a Booster Juice today and try the cookies and cream Booster Ball. A tasty little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies. All smashed together for one great taste. Only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Another great day for Canadian swimmer Summer McIntosh. She won her second gold medal in Paris in the women's 200-meter butterfly. She also took part in the 4x200 freestyle relay, where Canada finished fourth. Montreal's Felix Auger-Aliassime defeated Norway's Casper Ruud in the quarterfinals. 23-year-old will now be guaranteed to compete for a medal in both the men's singles and mixed doubles, where he'll have a chance at the bronze. On the hard court, the women's basketball team fell to Australia 70-56. They'll now take on Nigeria on Sunday, needing to win, plus a few other results to go their way. The 3x3 team, featuring the Plouffe sisters, defeated host France by a score of 13-9. The Edmonton Oilers announced that they will induct retired players Craig McTavish and Randy Gregg to their Hall of Fame. That'll go down on October 25th when they host Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. In the majors, 3 games underway right now in the 5th. Guardians lead the Orioles 5-2. The Royals up on the Tigers 3-1 in the 6th. And the Braves have a 3-0 lead over the Marlins in the 2nd. Later tonight, Cubs and Cards go at it at Wrigley, and the Rockies take on the Angels. And the CFL Week 9 kicks off with the Bombers hosting the Lions. That one starts at 6:30. And you got some preseason football Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio. Texans take on the Bears. Edmonton Riverhawks will wrap up their series with Victoria tonight, just after 8 o'clock. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Coming up next, it's another edition of Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.